Alright guys, I'm healed up enough to do a podcast now. Joining me with this is Killy. What's up, Killy?
Hey.
Jim, aka Beat Rush. What's up, man?
Yo.
And we have a special guest, Mir. What's going on, Mir?
Hey there.
Okay, so I'm going to do like an extra long introduction to good old Mir here because no one knows who he is. And I've been meaning to like make a video, Mir, to like introduce you properly, like do an official video, but it's just, you know, scheduling problems and stuff. So Mir has been helping me with the channel for a while now, like behind the scenes and such. In fact, Mir made a few of the Injustice combo videos and such, and Mir will be helping me a lot in the future. And I'm basically just recruiting people. You guys saw that Sonic Soul made that CEO highlights video and such, and just basically to help me so I can work on bigger projects on the channel. And I'm just like trying to recruit like reliable people to help me with content and such. And you know, we're working closely with a cross counter as well, and just, you know, basically just expanding and such. So I think this is a perfect opportunity to bring Mir into this podcast, so you guys can get used to hearing his voice, because in the future Mir will return. And also Mir lives in Italy, so it's really early for you, right? Like, what time is it for you right now?
Time zones don't help. It's like 6:30 in the morning.
6:30 in the morning, and then like the rest of us is all super late, right? It's like 10:30 p.m. for us, and yeah, poor Killian and Beat Rush, you guys gotta wake up in the morning for work tomorrow. So yeah, it's the struggle, man. It's the struggle. Anyways, yeah, we're here to talk about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Basically, our impressions after playing it at E3, and basically, let's start off by talking about what were our feelings about the game, like what we were walking into, like our impressions of the game before we actually played it at E3. Because I think that's really interesting, because I'm sure we had definitely mixed opinions on it, and then after we got to play it, it was definitely a little bit different for sure. I know Achille, for sure, you had some doubt, I would say, when we were walking on the show floor to play it, you know?
Yeah. Just kind of the internet perception had an influence on it.
The memes.
Yeah, and the trailers weren't looking too great, so it was kind of I was kind of underwhelmed. So it wasn't like too excited to play the game.
I mean, like, when you mean like saying underwhelmed, like, are you saying like because of the just like the graphics and the HUD, or you're like doubt about the gameplay because it was 2v2? You know, they're taking out assists, like what was it like?
A bit of a mix of the both.
Okay.
Like the story mode trailer wasn't particularly great. Like the writing's a little weak.
Yeah.
Graphically, again, it didn't look great in the story mode. And then the gameplay videos didn't, like, without knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
The gameplay videos don't do anything for me. It's just kind of like, okay, it has certain mechanics, but without understanding how they work, it's just I can't get hype over that. Like, I need to know how the mechanics work so I can get an idea of like what to get excited over.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like, it definitely wasn't like last time we went to E3 where we're like ready to play Street Fighter 5 and we're just like, you know, so into it. Like, there's so many things that we wanted to test out. But for Marvel, it was just like we kind of just wanted to play it and just, you know, get it over with kind of thing.
But the thing with SF5 is they released one video just before E3 that explained the mechanics, like the V system,
What?
right? So
I don't remember that.
there was like a video that explained the V system. I can't. I'm pretty sure it was before E3, but I could be mistaken.
I think, you know what? I think it was when we were actually in LA. That's probably maybe why I didn't see it. Like, we were
Possibly.
already there by that point.
And then they had a lot of character trailers, so we had like a certain idea, certain expectation going into it, like what to test and things to do, even like sample combos to try out. But like with Marvel, we didn't have any of that, so it's kind of like you're going in blind.
And then after you got your hands on it, like, what was your overall feelings?
The first couple times I played it, I was still kind of underwhelmed, but I didn't really know the mechanics of the game that well still, right? Once I started like figuring things out, it actually started to get a little bit more fun, because I could see like the potential and the creativity involved with the tag system, as well as like how it would interact with gems and other things. So team synergy is still there, even though it's not like 3v3. There's still team synergy because of the tag system.
Yeah.
And then the gems augment they can augment deficiencies within your team. Like if they can't wall bounce, right? Power Stone can do that.
Mm-hmm.
If they're slow, Time Gem can speed them up. If they're like a zoning character, then Reality Gem works. Or even Space Gem, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they're a grappler, Space Gem helps. Or if they're a mix-up character, Reality Gem helps. So you have all these different ways to kind of form your team now. So the team composition aspects of Marvel 2 is still there.
Mm-hmm.
And the tagging system allows for more creativity, both in neutral Oki, well, not just like in all aspects, like neutral Oki and combos, right? So the core aspects that make Marvel interesting is there, but and the execution's not bad, but there's like um, some things that still leave me concerned overall. But it's like kind of like we'll have to see what people figure out, right?
Mm-hmm. But overall, you left a better impression, right?
Yeah, I definitely left with a much better impression of the game.
Are you more of a gameplay kind of guy, or you put everything to account when you like purchase your fighting games?
Um, if we're looking at it from a competitor standpoint, then the gameplay is the most important, right?
Yeah.
But if you're talking about from a consumer standpoint, everything matters, right?
Yeah.
Content
Yeah.
and gameplay, right? Graphically, right? It has to look appealing as well. I mean, I can understand people who aren't happy with the graphics, right? Because it's like you eat with your eyes first.
Mm-hmm. For sure. What about you, Jim?
To be honest, like I never really had an interest in the game. Even like I haven't been reading up on a lot of the impressions that the community has been having with it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it is all second and third hand from what I hear.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, everyone doesn't like this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I look at it and I just say it doesn't really have an appeal to me.
Mm-hmm.
But having touched it, Alvin touched on a lot of points I would have brought up too. It's just at first you don't really feel like it's very different,
Mm-hmm.
but as you start to explore it, like there are some things there that give some hints of a more in-depth play.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted though, too, it's like every version of Marvel has its own little meta and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how it develops with what we've figured out so far.
Mm-hmm.
There definitely is, as you pointed out, some issues with the graphics, but graphics never really bothered me for the most part.
You talking about
Like,
the presentation?
yeah, like I mean, HUDs and all stuff doesn't really matter to me, to be honest. Like I might be one of those weird people like that, but honestly, I just care about the gameplay. Like everything else just doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Is if the game is good, I'll play it. Like I don't care if it looks good or anything, or the music's shit or whatever. I don't care. All I care about is if the game is like the gameplay is actually good.
Dude, actually,
Hey,
music means a lot to me now. It really does. After a while putting up with it, like I need like good music in a fighting game now, man.
Hey man, Jim and I played at Northwest Majors. There's one guy who was developing a fighting game, and all it was just hitboxes. You had no real assets. It was just a game with hitboxes, and that game was a lot of fun. Actually,
It was so much fun.
It was actually really good.
Dude, it's because the functionality was good, right?
Exactly.
Mirror.
Well,
Mirror, you're like the Marvel
like-
master. What were your
Well,
impressions?
I'd say that the most important thing about your first impressions of a game definitely come from the presentation. Like the graphics definitely matter, and especially if you're like new to a series and you want to find like characters that you want to play, right?
Yeah,
like,
the
you just
roster
go
matters.
like you just go for the ones that you think are the most good looking, or that you think that like they have something that might interest you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And definitely the game doesn't do a great job at like eye candy in general, but like once you get down to the gameplay, right? Like I always like zoning characters, or in general like versatile characters. Like I can see an like I can find basically a team in Marvel for sure. Like zoning characters are like really high APM in a sense in Marvel games, especially in this one, because with the active tag system, you can just bring in your partner and create like this wall of fireballs that makes the really hard for the opponent to get in. So there's definitely like a lot of interesting things in this game. It's just that it's not really apparent like when you look at it. And yeah, definitely wasn't really hyped for it before E3.
Yeah.
And now I'm way more interested. Like,
really? Okay.
Especially after playing it.
Like, you weren't too interested in Marvel 3, were you?
No, I wasn't very interested in Marvel 3 at all. Especially after, learning a bit about the game and all the, well, let's say, crazy stuff that there was in it, Infinite.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's easier, like, from a spectator's point of view, it's easier to see everything now. Like, when they did cut it down to 2 characters and took out this assist, like, I was so skeptical of that. But, like, I kind of understand it now. Like, you can really see what's going on the screen now because of it. But you can still, like, also maintain the depth of it as well. Because obviously, they had to make sure, the tag system worked well. Otherwise, people would be complaining if they really dumbed it down,
Yeah, and the gems are very, like, visible when you activate them, especially during the Infinity Storms, because of, the background also changes. But it's really apparent what's going on, definitely. Like, and because you only have 2 characters instead of 3, you don't have assists flying around, and characters don't jump as high.
Yeah.
The characters are also bigger on the screen, I think, compared to Marvel 3. It's just way more spectator friendly for sure.
Well, let me ask you guys this, okay? Before I move on to the next topic. Like, let's say they did have... Because, part of presentation is the roster, right? Like, the characters that are available to the game. And, like, everyone knows, like, there's no X-Men characters in the game right now. Let's say the X-Men characters were in the game. Like, they are in the game on launch, right? But they look, like, ugly. Like, let's say, like, there's just... The models just look off. You think people would still complain at that point?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's like, it's their favorite characters, right? Like, maybe they're just big fans of Wolverine or Cyclops. Well, no one's really a fan of Cyclops, but anyway. Like, it's still, something that they care for. Like, having really ugly characters doesn't help, with the thing that I mentioned before. You want to play characters that you like, and if you don't like them aesthetically, that doesn't help.
I remember Kawa's impression when he saw Dante. He's like, "What did they do to you, man?"
Like, no. Yeah. Marvel Infinite. Yeah, he was definitely not happy.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it wasn't Nante.
DMC wasn't.
Because we were joking around if it was Nante, but like, be careful what you wish for. Oh man. All right. Well, we basically already talked about like how we felt like after playing. Most of everyone like felt better. Like me personally, the thing is like before I played Marvel Infinite, like let me keep in mind, guys, is that I'm not a fan of Marvel 3. I don't like Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is my all-time favorite fighting game. So, like one of the biggest reasons I don't like about Marvel 3 is the X Factor system. It just kills the game for me. And the gem system is a comeback mechanic, and like we'll talk about it, or this Infinity Stone system. I don't know why I call it gem, but that's something we'll talk about in a bit here. But that's like one of the big differences. Like when I finally got to play this game and see how that Infinity Stone system actually works, and the tag system. Of course, I was really skeptical, but I did a breakdown of the tag system a couple weeks ago. So obviously, I had to learn how it was. So I already had a pretty good idea of what the game would be like before I played it. But like watching these trailers, man, like. These story mode trailers like really kill the hype for me. Like the first 2, I don't even think, besides Sigma and Ultron talking to each other, I don't even think there was any other characters talking. And the music, like the music is such a big factor when it comes to a trailer, guys. Like it really sets the tone. Like there's a reason why in Street Fighter V all the trailers don't use the official music. They all use different tracks. But like I was really scared. Like I was telling the stream before I went to E3, I'm like, guys, I'm really scared to play this game. But after I played it, it was a lot better than I thought it would be for sure. But I focus mostly on gameplay, right? besides the presentation. But like when I see the story modes and stuff, I'm just thinking about like what other people would think about that, and just it just seemed really really off for sure. So
Like if you look back at like the old marketing campaigns they did for the previous games, like Street Fighter 4, Marvel 3, and even Street Fighter Cross Tekken,
yeah,
the campaigns were way better back then. Like even like me and Alvin used to always make fun of Street Fighter Cross Tekken because the trailers for where the characters were just the CGI trailers would look so good, and we were like, oh my god, we're so hyped for this game. Then we actually see the gameplay, and we're like, this game looks like shit.
What are you talking about? Cross Tekken is amazing.
Yeah, and then we see the next CGI trailer, and we're like, this game looks so hype.
Yo, man, the Poison Marduk King. Who else was in that trailer? Like Guy and Cody and stuff.
Yeah, Guy, Cody, Hugo.
But that trailer was so well done, right? Introduced the characters, you get a little bit of action going on, and then the music they used for that trailer was really well done. Like it just the composition of everything, right? It was so well done. Gets you excited. Even when they had the Bison Jury Jin.
Oh my god, that one's so good.
That was so good because you get
the
hype
for that
factor.
one. Yeah.
Dude, when Jin starts turning into the Devil Jin, and he's like, "I'll show you fear." It's so good.
I don't even know who Jin is. Anyways,
keep in mind, Cross Tekken has like the best cast of all time.
Okay,
like,
but that's a great example though. Okay, Cross Tekken presentation was through the roof. I would say that it had the best fighting game roster of any fighting game. Street Fighter Cross Tekken. It was insane roster right from launch too. Even though it had those DLC characters like locked in the game, the base roster was insane. Okay, and the trailers, their marketing campaign was good, but the game failed because of the gameplay. Even though the presentation was so good. So like this is what the opposite of Marvel.
Well, like ultimately, especially for the competitive scene, is gameplay what matters the most. So at least like for Marvel Infinite,
yeah,
you can be sure that there is like a lot to discover, or at least it seems like there's a lot to discover. So
yeah,
like it will hopefully keep the game fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even then, like when they did the Marvel trailers, like let's look at Sentinel for example. When they introduced Sentinel in Marvel 3, like they did the music, they did the intro, they gave you a base team, what that character can fit into, and then they actually showed a type of gameplay and synergy based on what the character can do as an assist and as a point character. So, and we don't even have that for Marvel Infinite. Like
then when they launched Sentinel, didn't they one of the gameplay footage? Wasn't it MSS? Didn't they use MSS?
Yes, they used MSS.
Like it's just so smart, right? Like, people got hyped when they saw MSS.
I think it's just the way that Capcom's just like really confused on like their consumer base. Like you can tell there's a lot of like misinformation going on, and they're like, okay, like they're trying to like go this like game, like trying to get this like best roster they can. But then everyone's like, oh, the gameplay sucks, and they're trying to get the gameplay right, make it as deep as possible. And everyone's like, oh, but you don't have story mode. You know what I mean? So like, Capcom's like, okay, well everyone wants story mode. Everyone cares about the story, so they're showing off story trailers for Marvel Infinite and shit, right? And everyone's like, oh, this looks off. Like, I don't know. It's just really funny because it's like it seems like Capcom just can't get it right, when it comes to the finished product. I don't know. It seems like they're always missing something. Something's off,
There's a lot of parts missing in terms of this whole thing altogether. Like the marketing campaign is terrible. They don't know what to show people. They don't know which demographic they're even catering to be honest.
I think it's cross communication between Marvel Disney and Capcom, and it's like it seems like Marvel Disney wants this direction, and then Capcom wants one direction.
Yeah,
and it's like the demographic is like their target demographic is all over the place. It's like Marvel Disney wants to cater towards like children for the Marvel IP, but it's like that's not your demographic for the game, right? The demographic for the game is for teens. Dude, okay, I don't know if we want to go into the actual story demo, but
no, that's the next topic, dude.
But if we're going into that, like
we're going to, don't worry.
I'm just gonna skip ahead here. But the writing for the story demo is for children. Like it is so poorly written based on what I played.
Calm down,
story
Kelly.
Demo.
Calm down.
And it's like it's frustrating because As a fan of both the Marvel and Capcom IPs, you want a story that you want to get invested into anyways, because you're a fan of the characters. You want to see them like interact and do cool things, right?
Yeah.
But the way that the story is written is so cliched, and it's like the dialogue
And
is
forced.
cringe.
Very forced.
It's cringe, right?
It's
And it's just because it feels like it's being targeted towards children. Like it's like not hitting the right demographic. Like they should be targeting teens to adults with it. The same, like basically they should target the same audience that watches the Marvel movies, right? And there's a level of writing in the Marvel movies where it's like, yeah, children can enjoy it, but also teens to adults really enjoy it too, because the writing is solid. But we don't have that in the Marvel Infinite story demo. It's just bad. It's a low quality production. It's just really disappointing. It's frustrating because it's like, what direction are you going here with? Like, what's your demographic? Because your target demographic based on the story mode is children, but the gameplay doesn't match up with that, right? Sure, you added simplified inputs and auto combos to help them out.
Yeah.
That might get them through story mode, but like, there's no longevity with the game. If that's it, right? Like your actual target demographic is like teens to adults who would stick with the game past the initial like single player content.
Well,
right?
especially
But
with
it's
the
like,
DLC and all that. Like you can tell they're gonna release a lot of DLC for the game. So obviously their audience, they're trying to have an audience that's gonna be playing it for a long time.
and this is where I get with like where the direction seems cross between the Marvel Disney and Capcom, right? Like it seems like Marvel Disney wants to target a younger audience, but since Capcom's developing the game, they know like their core audience is like the fighting game community, so they're making the game based around that. But yet there's also directions to simplify it and make it accessible, but also trying to retain people, right? So it's like this weird mishmash of company direction, and I think the overall product is suffering as a result.
Okay, well, before we move on, there's one more thing we'll talk about. Since we brought up the whole cross-Tekken comparison, you know what I mean? So, like, what do you guys think about King of Fighters 14? Like, how the reception of that was taken, how that game looked. And everyone was saying, you know, but the gameplay is going to be solid. It's got the KOF gameplay. I just think that, like, you guys have to admit that Capcom gets hit harder than any other company, right? But at the same time, they do get away with things as well because of their crazy IPs, right?
Well,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go
ahead, Mir. No,
Oh,
go ahead.
okay. No, well, to be fair, talking about King of Fighters, like when they revealed the original trailer, the game got a lot of shit for how it looked, and to be honest, even after the lighting update, the game still looks pretty bad.
It doesn't look up to snuff. It doesn't look like a next-gen game, right? It's still... The graphics aren't where they should be when we've seen what the console's capable of and what other fighting games have done.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, people wrote off the game right away without even playing it. And I think it's consistent with the way the reception is for Marvel Infinite, but it's getting magnified because not just because of Capcom, but because of how SF5's launch went. So because of the huge negative feedback of SF5 launch and content and stuff, people are then amplifying that hatred or that reception to Marvel Infinite based on looks alone. As well, and then like the whole DLC campaign is always a touchy subject, right? A lot of people are not happy in general with pre-order DLC and DLC at launch and stuff like that.
Street Fighter V has been pretty good with it though, with the like, you know, every character being free and such.
I mean,
nice to have
Street
more
Fighter
things
V
with
has
fight winning, but it's different.
has a balance of that, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, like the way I like to look at it, it's like, yes, you can argue whether that business practice is shady or not, but I mean, you have to understand it is a business. People they need to think about how they need to make money moving forward, right? Just after the game is released. But also, I mean, you're getting content past the game's release, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think some of the argument is also, it's like, okay, they've created the like the game, and then they kind of hide away part of the game as DLC and stuff like that. Whether that's true or not is like a whole other thing. But I mean, like when you move into the second year of the game and they have a second season with more characters and stuff, then at that point, like, you're getting content on a yearly basis, right? Like, I don't know, I'd be kind of happy with like Arxis if they gave me 6 new characters in Guilty Gear a year or something like that, like SF5 does, regardless of like the delivery system of it. But I mean, if we're getting continuous content, it just shows that the developer is supporting the game. Obviously, they're not going to do it for free, right? So you do have to pay that price, premium or not.
Well, I think that's the problem, right? Like, what people have the most trouble with is the fact that you are going to pay full price for a game that someone would argue is not finished, right? Because it has all the characters that you...
Yeah, there's definitely like cases of other games where it's very blatantly obvious that the game was not complete at launch, and you paid full price, and then you have to pay additional money for DLC content and stuff like that. So it all depends on like how they do it, how the delivery system is.
Like Street Fighter 5 is a good example of a game that didn't look that great when it came out, and it still was full price.
It definitely wasn't a full game when it was launched.
No.
Right? So you can definitely argue that, yeah, I paid full price for this game that wasn't complete, and then I'm getting hit with DLC, constant DLC. Now, you don't have to buy that DLC, like those costumes and stuff, but yeah, I can definitely see people being frustrated and unhappy with that, right? The delivery system wasn't great.
But like, look at Injustice, right? Like, Injustice has like the most content like on launch. Like, the amount of content in Injustice is insane, and they still had a very ambitious DLC campaign. They got a lot of characters coming, and people are still complaining about it, you know, even though the base product was very worth the full price as a complete product.
It's just that hiding, very important
basically having
characters,
DLC, announcing that you're going to have DLC right when the game, even before the game is released, people are going to get up in arms over that. Because that negative reception, or that stigma that, hey, you're selling me an incomplete game right off the bat with this pre-order DLC and stuff like that. People are always unhappy with that.
Yeah, especially if it's like, oh, we're gonna have fan favorite characters in the DLC, like Red Hood, and then you get, like, in the base roster, you get characters that no one cares about, like Cheetah, and it feels like you're kind of like trying to make your fans, buy the season pass just to play their favorite characters, and you feel kind of like cheat out of your money in a sense.
Mirror, know they're gonna have the X-Men characters as DLC, right? You know what's gonna happen, man.
Well, yeah, of course. And people are going to buy it.
Well played, Capcom. Well played. Oh, that's good. One thing before we move on, I want to mention Stang and his crazy argument with KOF-14, how it looks like Ape Escape. Do you guys remember Stang going off like crazy about that? Who was he arguing with? Was it me?
I think it was you, because he did it on stream.
It was crazy. Like, Stang went nuts over that whole KOF-14 trailer, man. He was convincing me that they use the same models as Ape Escape. I think it was Ape Escape 2 to be specific.
Yeah.
But it was nuts. Stang actually looked up pictures and was trying to prove it to me. So, I mean, Capcom, please, man, stop, at least for Stang. Do this for Stang. Do this for Stang, man. So, yeah. Alright, okay, well, Killy talked about this for a bit, the story mode demo, but I definitely want to talk about the story mode demo, okay? So, we all played it, right? You guys all got a chance to finally play it? Yes?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Listen. None of us played the story mode demo before we played the E3 build. None of us in this podcast, okay? When we went to LA, was around like when we landed and we're in the hotel and such. That's when the conferences happened and they announced there was going to be a free demo for Marvel Infinite. So everyone got their hands on it, and that's basically where the memes like really started kicking off, like hard. The memes, especially on Chun-Li's face and Dante and all that shit, right? And that's why we were also really extra worried when we played Marvel Infinite. But when we played it, like I said, it wasn't that bad. Like the graphics didn't look that bad as everyone was saying and such. And then like I said, I didn't play the story mode demo until very recently, like a few days ago, right? And I was seriously stunned on how bad that demo is. It is so brutal. I couldn't believe it. It was so bad. I was sitting down with David on the couch playing it, right? And David was like, "This game looks horrible." Like, that's what he said to me. I'm like, "Dude, it's not that bad." But as I played it, I started to realize, I'm like thinking in my head, imagine all the people that didn't go to E3 and play this game and they only played this shit. I'm like, no wonder everyone's pissed off. It was brutal. And like the story part, Killy, you already talked about. But like, even just like how the game like looked when you were playing it, it was just so off. Like it looked like a very like outdated version of the game.
Yeah, it felt like the game was running on medium, instead of
running on what?
On medium.
Oh,
as in, medium graphics.
Medium graphics.
Yeah, it felt like some effects were missing.
You need the Xbox One X to use it at full potential. We needed 4K native scaling resolution.
Yo, 720p 60.
Oh man, seriously, I was like this. I was like, I couldn't believe it. So like, it was just such a bad impression. Like, I'm not kidding, guys. Capcom should not have released that demo. They should not have released it. I'm serious.
Yeah, really bad PR.
I think
now people believe that the game looks bad, and it doesn't look that bad.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It really doesn't. But like, when you play that demo, it's hard to defend it. It really is.
Well, like, okay, let's look at what's wrong with the demo. First of all, the load times for the demo are long. I don't know how it is on like the PS4 Plus or something.
You need that PS4 Pro, Killy.
Yeah, the Pro. But the load times are bad, right? And then the AI is stupid, and so you can't really have fun playing around with the game because it's so easy to kill the AI unintentionally.
They don't even have full health, do they? Like some parts, like their health bars are like lower, isn't it?
I don't know, but it's like you're trying to mess around with the mechanics and stuff, and you can't really do it.
Yeah.
Because they like run into everything, so you can't like try to play around with combo. Like you can like obviously people create their own combo videos off of the story demo, but like having to like reload a section and you're forced into like set teams, and then you're having to like constantly reload that portion of the demo to play around with the combos or whatever.
Yeah,
it's just brutal, right? It's so brutal.
Yeah.
No, and then the story, like I already said my piece on this, the whole like experience of the story itself, but that demo was just, it left a sour taste in my mouth for sure. Definitely like different than actually playing the versus mode demo at E3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they should have, if they're gonna release a demo, like at the very least, and make sure that you have like the latest build, right? Like the latest build, and then second of all, they should have just had like a versus. Like a versus would have been maybe just even the test the Neko or something, right? Maybe it would have cost them more money or something, but yeah, like I mean, like if they know that their presentation isn't up to par, then why show it off at that state, right? If they know that their gameplay is the strong point of Marvel Infinite, which it is, the gameplay is definitely the strong point of the game, then they should have just focused on the gameplay and had like a versus and such.
But I think it's a case of like direction and deadlines and stuff like that, like behind the scenes game development stuff that we're not aware of. Like maybe they had to release a demo based on Disney's direction or maybe their own direction.
Yeah.
But releasing, and then like you have to understand that they needed a demo that would appeal to more than just fighting game fans, right? So they needed something for the casual audience. So story mode demo probably made sense to them, but the quality of the demo wasn't there, and that's the issue.
I mean, like, dude, if they had like a versus mode, okay, even if it was offline or whatever, you would have had a bunch of pro streamers playing against other pros and having, really dissecting the game and like having these hype matches. And I think as a casual person watching those streams would get you hype. It'd make you want to play the game. You know what
Yeah, I mean, there's good and bad in something like that. Like it's free publicity at that point.
Yeah.
But then you also have people who are going to be running tournaments off of that demo, and you got
Running
maybe
tournaments.
Well, dude, we did it with Guilty Gear, man.
Yeah.
ArcSys gave us pretty much the full game and called it a demo.
Shit.
And we ran like multiple tournaments in the US. Were running the demo.
But how's that a bad thing?
It can be bad in that it could speed up the meta. Like, I mean, that's so minor though.
Oh yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I mean, it depends on what they want. Maybe they didn't want the game to be figured out so soon.
I mean,
right?
it's a Marvel game, man. It's not gonna go stale quickly in terms of that. Like even Marvel 3.
I mean, if the game, if you're worried about your game going stale, before the game's release, then that means the core of your game wasn't strong to stand on its own.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see that being one of the reasons. Like they didn't want people to like delve too deep before the game got released. But I mean, they should have more. If that was a concern, they should have more confidence in their final product.
Yeah. All right. Does anyone else have anything to say about the story mode demo before we move on?
It looks bad.
I'm glad you're here, Mir. I'm glad you're here, man.
It didn't last very long on my system, that's for sure.
Too much hard drive space. Guys, gotta get that PS4 Pro, man. All right. Next topic. Well, this is basically talking about the visuals of the game, which we like talked about a lot. But in the E3 build, so they had an interview recently with GameSpot, hey, and one of the things they were saying is that a lot of people they were saying that they didn't get a good impression of what these character models look like because of one of the reasons is because of the stages. So like one of the first stages is X-Guard, and there's like that other stage too where it's like darker, and they're saying that like in the brighter stages the characters pop out more. So for example, that desert stage, like that Black Panther like stage, we got to play that in E3.
Godlike, by the way.
Sorry?
That stage is godlike, by the way.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's such a detailed stage. Like, not just like the what it looks like, but like the background and like there's a lot of things moving around and such. And
you got a Cyber Rhino coming in on that background, man. How godlike is that? Cyber Rhino.
I mean, like when you compare that stage to the other stage, it's kind of weird. It's like you know, in Street Fighter 5, like the first stage they show was the China stage, and the China stage is one of the most detailed stages in Street Fighter 5 to this day. You know what I mean? Like the signs all explode, sparking. There's a lot of people moving around. The restaurant opens up, right? The bus and the noodles on the left. It was like a really good first impression stage, right? But then we have the X-Guard stage, and it's like all dark. You can't really see the models popping out. Nothing's really moving around in the background. It's just kind of strange, right? Like this stage should have been like one of the first stages they shown. Basically, is what I'm saying.
Because of the story demo, right? Because where they put the story is right in the middle of there. So
it's not in the story demo either. This is only in the E3 build.
You're talking about like the Thanos stage?
I'm saying the Black Panther stage should have been the first stage they showed.
Yeah,
and I'm showing the X-Guard stage is one of the most 90% of the time is what we're seeing, what other people are seeing. And I'm saying in the GameSpot interview, they're saying because of that, a lot of people don't really see like how good the lighting and stuff is in the game and such because of it.
Well, like I was about to say, to be fair, the China stage for Street Fighter 5, when they first showed it, they didn't have like moving parts, if you will. It didn't have a background, like there were no people in the background, even inside the restaurant, and it was pretty dark. Like it is still one of the darker stages, except when you like destroy the door and everything's all red.
But you have the neon signs, right? And so when you jump into the neon signs, the dynamic lighting shows through, right? So there's aspects of the stage to showcase the graphics, like showcase things like that. But like X-Guard doesn't have any of that.
Yeah, are you trying to say there's no excuses? Is that what you're trying to say to me?
But it's like they definitely could have picked a better stage.
Yes,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Like I don't think we are arguing about that. It's just that like the demo that we played at E3 has so many different options. Well,
it was it's a further along build too, right?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
The details that we saw in E3 don't really exist in the story demo.
Like Dante's jacket. Like, did you not notice a big difference in Dante's jacket between the story mode demo and the build we played? Like, his jacket was like moving around in the wind, and it's like all shiny and shit.
Like it flows, right?
Yeah, and then in the demo, it's just like, I don't know. It's like he's wearing a cardboard cosplay box.
All I really remember from Dante's jacket at the E3 builds, like when you're at the character select screen, you hover over Dante, you can really see the details in Dante's jacket. Like it has the textures are very nice, the details are nice. You can see that it's like, you look at it and you're like, yeah, that's made out of leather, kind of thing. Like that's how good the textures are on it. But then you look at his face, and you're like, oh god, what happened here?
That's made out of leather too.
Oh shit! I don't know. It's really funny, man. Like the differences between the builds. Just that story mode, man. I'm telling you, it's one of the biggest banes for sure. Ah.
It definitely hurt them releasing that story demo. I think it did. I think among the hardcore audience for Marvel, the Marvel Versus series, like I think that story demo did damage to them. But from a casual perspective, like I have a friend who like he doesn't care about all those little details, right? So he'll look at it and he just mashes on buttons. He's like, "Yo, this is awesome," or whatever. Right?
I'm the best.
Like, he's like, "Oh, it's great." Like for him, that might be enough. Like he doesn't care about those little details and stuff like that. So for him, maybe that story demo is like good enough.
The greatest ever.
Well, especially when you don't have popular returning characters like the X-Men, and you're trying to get into this new roster. You're like, well, let's try out this story demo. Maybe they have interesting personalities. It turns out they don't have them. So,
but we also have to look at it like we're in a new generation here, where the new generation didn't grow up with X-Men like we did, right? They grew up with Avengers. They grew up with Guardians of the Galaxy, stuff like the movie franchises, right? So maybe to them, they want the movie characters in, and that's kind of like what you see with the roster.
Yo, Killy, that's exactly what they said in the interview.
That was PR.
That was so
I didn't even
PR.
read.
That was so PR.
Well, they still know about Wolverine, right? Like Wolverine. Is still
I hope so.
Like,
movie, I guess.
What you can expect from like the current generation, like what they know, their exposure of X-Men is probably just the movies. So like they like maybe Fassbender's Magneto, and they like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and stuff like that. But most of the X-Men movies weren't that great, in my opinion. I didn't like them, except for like Days of Future Past, Logan, and First Class. Those are like the only three X-Men movies I like.
Also remember that Logan is not Marvel.
It's
right?
not
like,
really.
It's
Fox, right? And then we get into the whole licensing thing, but that's a whole other issue altogether.
Yo, Jim, did you see that GameSpot interview?
No, I missed it actually.
Well, basically, they were asking them. They're like, "Yo, like Marvel 3 had its style, and the style was comic book. The characters had a comic book style, right?"
Yeah.
And they're like, to this day, they're saying Marvel 3 holds up. Like, the characters pop. And they're like, what's up with why'd you guys go with this direction of the game? And basically what they were saying is that they're going
mobile
for
direction.
What'd you say, Khalid?
Mobile game direction?
Dude, no, stop it. Okay, anyways, they were saying they were going for a cinematic direction. And let me finish. I'm doing my PR here. Okay, so they're going for a cinematic finish, and like because of the movies, right? So obviously you don't want to talk about comic books. You want to go for the cinematic look, and that's the reason the characters look this way. Okay.
Wait, I know. Is that why the game goes to 30 FPS when you get knocked out? For that cinematic?
No, it's 24 FPS. It's
This is contradictory though,
23.97 FPS.
Because Gamora, we've seen Gamora in the story trailer, but her look is not the movie Gamora. It is the mobile game Gamora.
Yo, whoa. wait a second. I didn't watch Guardians 2, so you could just be lying to me right now.
No, because even her outfit in Guardians 2 is not the one that she has in Marvel Infinite.
DLC costume?
The actual
Yeah, that's DLC, man.
costume in the story mode for Gamora is exactly the same as that Marvel. What was it? That Marvel mobile game.
Killy, what are you trying to say here? You're saying this is
That-
not the cinematic look?
I'm saying it's a contradictory to say that they're going for the cinematic look, but a lot of the costumes and models for the Marvel side
Yeah.
are very similar to the mobile game.
Oh man.
Well, maybe it's just, for graphics, not specifically costumes.
The style, I guess. I don't know.
Well, like the thing about Marvel 3 is that it had those black outlines.
Yeah, a very
That-
heavy like ink outline.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
For
and
sure.
I don't know why people say that character pop, like the game was
I
extremely
don't think-
dark because of
I
it.
don't think they popped at all, to be honest.
Well, we're talking about Marvel
think-
3?
Yeah.
Dude, they popped, man. It was in 3D. It was like they were fighting in your living room.
Yeah, but it was super dark.
What are you talking about?
Like the outlines were so dark.
And we only played on 2 stages.
Yeah,
One
and
of them being the danger room, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was super dark too.
That's super dark.
It was hard to
And
stream the game back then, man. You had to play on that stage so the stream looked smooth, So
Pretty much.
I didn't mind that engine that they used for it. I didn't mind it.
Like,
like,
It wasn't
bad,
terrible
No.
by any means, but it wasn't like. I guess because we're talking like PS3, Xbox 360 days. So I mean, yeah, that there was no like better comparison. So I mean, that was acceptable back then.
They
No,
should-
they definitely nailed the comic book style for sure. It's
Mhm.
just that, like looking back at it, like it was too dark. I think like the outlines made it really dark.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like beside that, putting that aside, I mean the graphic style of Marvel Infinite. I mean the textures and details and clothing I do like. It's just right now some of the animations
the polish,
some-
man.
and some of the character faces are very questionable. And it's inconsistent between
Weird.
characters. It's inconsistent. Like you look at like obviously everyone brings up Chun-Li's face, and then you bring up Chris, you bring up Spencer, you bring up Dante. Those look bad. But then you look at some of the other side, like let's take some of the Marvel characters for example. You take a look at Captain Marvel, right? She looks very good. You look at Ultron, he looks very good. Thanos, he looks really good.
Right,
so
Killy, the
there's still-
visuals, it's subjective, man.
Huh? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can
Oh, I'm
say
just
that,
kidding,
but I
I'm
mean,
kidding.
like
No, I agree.
if you're comparing like face details, right? You can see that there's some inconsistencies here.
Look,
Even Mega Man looks pretty good.
Yeah,
Mega
Mega
Man
Man,
Zero
Mega
looked
Man
pretty
and
good.
Zero.
Look.
Mega Man and Zero look fine.
I have the solution. No matter what, they should only have one stage in the game, and it's the Black Panther stage. It should be the only stage. I am
I'd be
serious.
okay with
Because
that.
Mega Man, you can see the sun shining off his armor, and I remember Hulk. I was watching someone else play Hulk, and you can see the textures on his skin looked really like realistic. And Dante's jacket we already talked about. I'm telling you, the Black Panther stage just brings out the best in that game visually. It really does, man.
We can only hope for better stages. Like even better stages, I guess.
I,
Even better
I really
stages.
like the Black Panther stage though.
Yeah,
it's
no,
a really
no,
good
I-
stage.
No, I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that, like,
Oh,
hopefully.
like the other
future
stages
they'll
also kind of do the same. Yeah.
Yeah, like
no,
the
I'm saying maybe in
Avengers.
the future.
The Avengers stage is fucking terrible. It
Which
literally
stage?
looks like a mobile game.
Which stage?
You also have to make sure that there's not too like the stages don't lag the game. That was like the problem with Marvel 3. Some of those stages like lag the game. So
Oh, Axel stage?
Yeah.
yeah,
Axel
like in
stage.
Guilty Gear. Yeah.
Somebody
But yeah,
Crusader.
you got to be really careful of that, right? Because then like competitively, we're gonna be stuck with 2 stages again: training mode and freaking like Bond Wonderland for all we know.
No, man.
Oh,
We're
God.
living in an era of 4K gaming. We don't have to worry about that shit anymore.
We still worry about that shit still, because Guilty Gear still has that issue where we can only play online. There's like only a few stages you would want to play on.
One more thing before we bounce to the next topic here. Did you guys hear that stupid post about that dude who said he worked for Capcom? And then he said that the Disney asked Capcom specifically to make their characters ugly. Did you guys read that shit?
Yeah.
sounds
And I think there was like a video I watched that did a very good job at like debunking all of that.
Mir, did you actually believe that shit when you read it?
well, like the thing is that it seems like counterproductive. Instead of saying, oh, make sure to put extra care in making the Marvel side look good. It's the other way around. Like, oh, make the Capcom side look bad, but that's bad PR for the game. Like,
Yeah,
doesn't
like
make
why
sense.
why would you sabotage your own game that way? Like if Marvel is heavily invested in the game, why would they sabotage it that way? Like what purpose does that serve?
Like, I can understand that in the sense that like, I don't think it's real, but I could see where the mentality of that would be coming into play because from my experience, because I do freelance graphic design and stuff like that, and I've run into instances where you're dealing with another person and you're partnering with them. And I specifically remember, I won't name the clients, but basically, this one client,
It's Capcom.
they demanded that their logo be up front, their logo be the biggest, and there's the most things, and then their partner had to be tiny, even though the partner is actually a bigger corporation than the company that they were partnering with, because they wanted to. Some people, that's just how it is. It's like we want it this way, and these are our terms, and if you don't like them, then that's it. No deal. And it's like, I've seen it happen before, but I really don't think in this instance, like, this is the case.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
especially if the game has to be successful for both Marvel and Capcom to reap the benefits.
Like this is yeah.
I really just can't foresee like Capcom would agree to terms like that. Like even if Marvel is big, I mean, like they're asking you to shit on your own franchise, your own company. Highly suspect.
Mm-hmm.
Especially after what like Capcom's been through with Street Fighter V, right? Like they really need that good PR. I don't think they'd accept like something like that,
No.
Yeah.
Even if it's a good opportunity, I don't think they have their own franchises, and they would not forsake their own franchise just to partner with someone else like that. Like, no, it's not good for business.
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't believe it either. It's really silly. Another thing too, since we're still on the topic of visuals and stuff, if someone who's listening to this is probably like, what is the concern? Because we're talking about an unfinished game, right? Like, we're talking as if the game is going to look like this when it's released. But the thing is that this game is going to be released on September 19th. We're like 3 months away, if that. And the game's got to go gold, like, in August. So the game really only has like 2 months. So unless there's like a day one update, we're coming really close here to like the finished product. So I'm just saying that like it is worth worrying about at this point, for sure.
Yeah. If they were saying it was going to come out next year, I wouldn't be as apprehensive about it because there is still time to make improvements. But with it coming down the pipe, and there's also the issue of sending it off to get pressed and box, having a physical copy put in stores, that alone takes a little bit of time as well.
Yeah.
It's not like the day before release they just press it and send it out. Like, there's like a month or two where they have to get all that stuff sent out and shipped to other distributors. So
yeah,
like, it has to be done soon.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you guys want to talk about on the look of the game?
Don't play the demo.
Don't play the demo. Yeah. Seriously. Okay, moving on. Next topic. We're gonna talk about the actual gameplay of the game. So this should be more positive than what we were talking about before. Let's start with the Infinity Stone system. So basically, just in case you guys haven't been keeping up with it, is it before or after? I guess before the match starts, after you pick your characters, you have to choose an Infinity Stone. So right now we only have 4, but there's gonna be 6 total when the game launches. And right now we got what? We got power, time, space, and reality, right?
Yes. And yeah, power, space.
Yeah.
So all these stones have basically 2 functions, and one is kind of like a V-skill function. It's like a universal function for your team, and you can use it as many times as you want, and it actually like builds the bar for your Infinity Stone. And then there's a second function that's kind of like a V-trigger, where you like use it when your bar is 50% or higher, and then it'll have like this giant impact, and that is specifically the comeback factor of each stone. But what I like about it is that the comeback factor is not insane like X Factor is. Like, you basically choose what specific ability you want for your team. You play your team, like, you play around the stone, right? You're trying to match your play style. And then the comeback factor is something specific, whether they're trapped in a cage or, you know, you're sending elements at them or whatever, right? Whereas X Factor is kind of like you activate and then you just go nuts, right? You just slam your face on the joystick.
And you heal too.
Yeah. And yeah, you heal too, like, or you didn't take chip damage as well. And there's just so many things. And then I remember, like, it just, like, that's one of the things I didn't like about Marvel 3. And then in Ultimate Marvel 3, I'm like, hey, they're finally gonna nerf down X Factor. Like, I can't wait, right? I'm like, and then they're like, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it so you can use X Factor in the air. And I'm like,
didn't they also make it variable? Like, the X Factor is variable between characters?
what do you mean?
Or did they, like, homogenize it? I can't remember.
Well, like, the earliest stages of Marvel 3 before the game was released, like, they had like a old build of Marvel 3 at Evil, and X Factor actually, the first part of it actually was different per character. It did something different per character. And then I guess they didn't have enough time to figure it out because there's so many characters in the game. They're probably just like, okay, well, we'll just give every character everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird things, like Ryu and the air dash, and people were complaining it was too TVC. Like, they didn't like the idea of every character having an air dash, and then they had to fix that as well. So, you know, Marvel 3 had a lot of changes in the system and such, but this Infinity Stone system I really like, in Infinite especially, just because, like I said, it is a comeback mechanic. You're always going to have these comeback mechanics, but this one, it just feels good.
It removes the random factor that the X Factor had in Marvel 3, right? Granted, like, I mean, this is still day minus whatever stuff, but people will figure maybe something really dirty with whatever gems, but so far from what we've played, it feels honest in the context of Marvel. Like, Marvel isn't honest, but it's not like you press 4 buttons and you're at this tremendous advantage. Granted, space activation kind of does seem that way, but at least you're
sick,
not, like,
man. It's sick.
It's cool, but it's like, it's not like X Factor reactivated and you're super sped up, you're super plus frames, your damage goes up, and it's just like, okay, this is way too crazy. You visually, like, the human reactions can't keep up with that. But at least with the Infinity system, right? That's toned down significantly. It's less crazy in a non-random way.
And it actually adds to the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's good because it augments your characters.
Like, you don't have Wolverine
you have a set strategy going into it.
Yeah. Like, you don't have Wolverine doing, like, instant jumping kick into air activation into your dead. You know what I mean?
Like, the other thing is that you know what to expect, right? Like, because the gems only do that thing. Like, Reality Gem is, a fireball, and the activation is the, Elemental Storm or whatever that's called, Reality Storm.
Yeah.
So it's not like X Factor where the other guy's just gonna touch you and you die.
You already know what you're getting into when the person picks Anchor Virgil and they have X Factor. You already know what's happening. It's the same as the stones. You're like, you know what you're getting into with reality gem activation.
Yeah.
X Factor level 3 Virgil. You know it's coming.
Well,
you're gonna see that Helmbreaker into, like, X Factor activation or swords.
Well, at least they have they have to hit you with the Reality Stone. Like, with X Factors, just they have to hit you with the character, and then you die. So I don't know. It feels a bit more. How can I say it? Yeah, like you said, a bit more fair. In this sense.
It's less random. The number one.
It's controlled. Yeah.
I like how B used to put it with Virgil. It's like, if I let Anchor Virgil land, I lose. But if I don't let him land, I win.
B said that?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Another thing about the Infinity Stone system, I think they did such a good job with it, but another thing, too, is they found a way to, like, make it feel Marvel. Like, you know what I mean? It's part of the cinematic universe lore. And it probably has a lot to do with the storyline, too. So, like, it's a mechanic that's in the game that makes sense. Like, it's not just put in there out of nowhere. Like, it doesn't feel, like, shoehorned. Yeah. Like, like cross Tekken with the Pandora. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I
that
mean?
was super
It's
shoehorned
it feels
in.
so shoehorned in to just make a comeback mechanic. And by the way, that comeback mechanic sucked, didn't it? Like no one
It
really
was
used
terrible.
it.
Nobody barely used.
Yeah, see that's the
It-
problem.
Because they added a double-edged sword that was too risky.
Hmm.
The risk reward was skewed towards the risk side of things.
We didn't. The
They
timer ran out
clearly-
before you had a chance, anyway. So
Yeah, that's the other thing. They clearly didn't want to have a comeback mechanic that was too strong, so they actually overdid it, and it was too weak instead, and no one used it.
It's like very situational. Like people use them in very, very extreme situations. But yeah, I mean, the other thing with the Infinity system is that yeah, it's comic lore. It's currently being used in the movie universes, but also it's a throwback to the older games. I mean, you had the old SNES side scroller with the what was it, Infinity Wars or something like that.
hmm
And then even Marvel superheroes, it uses the gems, the Infinity Stones as well. So you get that double play where it's a throwback to for fighting game fans because like, oh, we're using the Infinity Stones again, and then also for the comic book and people who are fans of the movies, it's relevant, right?
hmm
So it's just a win-win here.
yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about on the Infinity Stone system?
Well, like the interesting thing about Infinity Stones is that, like, although they're a comeback mechanic, and you can actually get more than one activation per round, especially
Yeah.
if you activate early.
Hmm.
You still have to be mindful on how you use them, right? Like even
You can't just
Stone-
raw activate it, right? Like it's not that it's not something you want to raw activate without a game plan going into
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Like especially the Space Stone, right, which is like all the rage now, the box. Like you can still use, say if you're Thanos, right, and you're trapped in it, and the guy just approaches from the air, you can use your like laser super and keep them out, right? Especially if the timer is really short because they just activated it. So you still have options even if you're trapped.
Hmm.
It's not just like you're gonna press the Infinity Storm button and you're gonna die, right? Like you have options on the defensive side, which is really nice. And
Yeah.
it feels like you have control over your character.
Hmm.
And the good thing about the stones is they're very versatile for different different strategies. So like Space Gem, everyone thinks about it from a rushdown perspective, but it's also good for zoners too, because zoners, if they don't have good tools, like defensive tools, they need to keep you out,
Hmm.
then they can just go Space Gem and then get out of there, and then they're full screen back to the neutral game that they need. But also with the Infinity system in general, with the like how it's like Ultras, where you have a 50% and then 100%, you can choose to activate it at the 50% to further increase your advantage, like push the advantage,
Yeah.
or you can wait at 100% and then aim for that potential comeback factor.
Yeah.
So the idea behind the system is at least thought out, right? So right now I'm actually liking the way it's designed.
I just like how it adds depth to the game, right? Like the surge, like the one-time activations, not the V-trigger ones. Like it just helps characters like play the certain style that they want, right? Like it doesn't feel like it's overcompensating like most comeback factors do, where it actually adds something to the game. So
Yeah, because you actually have a utility use for it while you don't have the 50%, right? Because of that V-skill equivalent thing, like Reality Gem, and we'll talk just to go into the gameplay mechanics. You can whiff normals into the gem activation, like the V-skill version of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's pretty nice. But you can tag, and it still carries, like it doesn't. It resets your use of it, right? So with the Reality Stone, you can shoot a homing projectile. Then you tag immediately, and your incoming character can shoot another homing projectile. So it's not like you're limited to that. Even when you activate the Infinity, what do they call that? mechanic, where you activate it at like either the 50 or 100%
I
mark
think it's
here.
Storm. I think it's Surge.
Yeah,
And
So
Storm.
Infinity Storm.
Yeah.
The same thing, right? You can, with the Reality Stone, you can use Heavy Kick to shoot the pillar, tag, and now that incoming character has all their options reset with the Reality Stone. So if they want to shoot another pillar, they can.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's really nice, right? You can like really stack on the effects in conjunction with the tag system. So I think like the way the gems or the stones work in conjunction with the tag system is really nice.
Another thing is that during the Infinity Storm, you still have access to the B skill part of your Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
So you can still use that for mix-ups and whatnot. Like the Reality Stone has the the homing projectile, so that could be really really powerful during the Infinity Storm when you have all that stuff like flying around. So like it doesn't basically take options from you. You still have the freedom to do what you want with your stone.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Anything else you guys want to talk about the stones?
Nope.
Okay. Moving on, let's talk about the tag system. So there's been a lot of talk about this, man. This tag system, where it's freeform tag. You can tag your character at any point, whether you're in the ground or in the air, whether you're within a special, in the combos and such. And the idea was at first they needed to figure out they didn't want to use assists this time. They didn't like the idea of characters being used specifically for assists. They didn't like you to feel like you're forced to use this character, otherwise your team won't work. So they wanted to give everyone freedom, right? But at the same time, when you take out assists, you're removing a lot of depth from the game as well. As the Marvel games evolved and the newer ones in the series came out, it started getting crazier and crazier, right? At the point of like Marvel 2, where it was just like 3 assists, 3 characters, 3-on-3, It was really nuts. But I think with the tag system, I think they did a really good job with it in terms of trying to maintain the depth, but at the same time, lower the amount of characters and clutter on the screen. Like, what do you guys think?
I think the tag system's actually really well done, and you can tell the way the characters are designed. They definitely kept in mind about the tag system, because character specials, they either have like long startup or long recovery, but what they leave behind is very good screen control. So it's like, well, I don't want to use this special by itself because it's a high commitment move with high risk. But with the tag system now, you can, and then this is why I think they designed the special move to act that way. You can tag right away, and then that is your assist. So let's take Thanos for example. Thanos has a long startup projectile, but when the projectile comes out, it is slow moving and it moves forward for quite some time. Think of it like Laura's heavy fireball. It's the same thing, right? She charges it and then she releases it and then she follows it. But I mean, with Marvel, you have so many more movement options and other things to counter that. So you do that with Thanos and then you just tag him out right away. And now your point character has this forward-moving projectile that he can follow behind without having to deal about the recovery of the special.
But if it was like an assist, it'd be like you call the assist and then you go about it. It's like basically the same thing, right?
It's the same concept, right? But at least it's like more. I wouldn't say it's more active. I mean, assists are the same thing, right? One button call out to do an action. But I mean, when assist comes out, they have to go through that whole animation process first. Like they have to jump in and then they do their move.
Yeah.
And then it's up to your point character to keep them safe, right?
Yeah.
Now it's more like the point character does it. You tag the point character out, and the secondary character has to keep the point character safe. So it's just a change of mindset now, moving forward.
Like the only real difference is that like this new tag system can't be used the same way defensively, in the sense that you're in block stun, and you call an anti-air assist to cover you, right?
But you couldn't call assist and block stun anyways, right?
No, but like when Magneto would like advance on you, you get ready to call your assist to cover your tracks, right?
Yes.
Just in a defensive kind of way. It was just kind of like how it was used in the other games. But I think the Infinity Stone system makes up for that, because you can use those stones defensively as well in that kind of same manner. Like the time, you can use the teleport around to maneuver yourself.
Another thing that we really didn't have the chance to try out, but we saw in the trailers, is that like kind of like combo breaker tag thing.
I was gonna mention that, yeah.
Like that the implemented in the game, which is kind of like a way around it, right? Like because you don't have your assists to cover you, you still have the opportunity to escape a combo. It probably costs meter.
The cost is quite
2
high.
bars.
It's 2 bars, and
it can be baited and punished.
it could definitely be baited, but you can use it in both hit stun when you're getting hit and in block stun. So it definitely is something. They like I said, they wanted the game to feel more like your team is working together. So it's not exactly a burst mechanic, so I think it's a good mechanic to add to the game, especially since it's so costly. Like 2 bars is a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, especially like if your team is a keep out team, a zoning team, like those 2 bars could have been 2 supers that you could have used to zone out your opponent, right? So like it's definitely a choice that you have to make. Like I want to escape this combo because otherwise I'm gonna be in a really bad spot, and I want to go back to the neutral game, or just keeping out your opponent. Or just eat the combo and then have more meter for your comeback.
It definitely adds a layer to the meta, because when the opponent sees that tag out, say they're comboing you in the air, and you do that tag out. Before they would probably like end in a knockdown and then relaunch or whatever, continue the combo. But when they see that tag out, they have to make a conscious decision to either tag in their character to kind of meet the secondary character, or like cash out their damage on that first character. So sometimes you'll see them. I know in some of the gameplay footage of FChamp, right, you'll see them tag out the secondary character. So he goes, okay, I got to be aware of this. So he cashes out his damage. He does a super in the air, and then he tags in his secondary character to meet with the second character to prevent his on-point character from being punished.
That was so 2 levels anyways, yeah.
Yeah. So it is a nice layer that it adds to the game.
Yeah, like for the team supers, they don't have like an actual team super in the game, but you just do it manually.
There's no DHC essentially, not in the way that we know DHCs.
Yeah.
So you have to actually manually tag in your character and then have that character do their super.
But like when we were playing though, like I was like spamming the hell out of the tag thing. Like I was trying to use it whenever it was up. Just like do a move, tag. Like, did you guys find that a little disorientating? Like,
no, because I was looking for ways to really explore that. So like I was liking Mega Man Morgan, because Mega Man has the double boomerang, right? So you go boomerang, boomerang. You tag in Morgan, and while they're blocking the boomerang, you start doing a hover dash mix up. I find that really cool. Or like I go Rocket Raccoon and I don't know, Strider, for example. Rocket Raccoon has so many new keep away tools, like 2 traps, 1 proximity, 1 delayed, right?
Yeah.
So you're like trap, call Groot, tag. Groot's covering the traps, and then your secondary character comes in, and then you have the 2 traps protecting him, as well as them blocking Groot or trying to avoid Groot. And it's just like a big "what say you now?" Like I've got all this protection with me now.
Yeah,
and I think that's super cool.
Yeah, especially because you can use the tag system like very liberally. When you call in your tag partner, if you don't press anything after the tag, like it comes in as an attack, right? And it helps you continue combos because, of course, like hit stun and whatnot. But you can also hold the direction and stop their like movement earlier. For example, holding back. So that could be great if you're like trying to tag your like another character in from full screen because he's better, at dealing with say zoning, right? You want to get in. So you can still do it like kind of safely if you like pick your moment, and at the same time you can use it offensively to, maybe to push a mix-up on block, right? Like they're blocking you, calling your character, and then you don't come in with an attack and maybe throw them or go for like command grabs and whatnot and get a combo off of it. So there's really like depth to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of creativity with it, right? That's the whole point. Like you have to look at Marvel 2 and 3. They're the only way to safely tag in your other characters was to DHC into them. And Marvel 2, I mean, allowed for it because you had DHC synergies for block stun and stuff. Marvel 3, it was very hard to DHC certain characters, right? Because they didn't have really good supers to keep them safe. Like Viper, for example, you can't just raw DHC into her. You have the X factor to keep her safe. But with the way that this tag system works, I mean, you're constantly tagging, so there's more freedom of getting both characters in and out whenever you want. Not saying like it's always going to be safe. I mean, you tag, the character's still going through their animations, and then the incoming character is still coming in. So when that happens, yes, you can get sniped for sure. They can just see that and like, hey, I'm going to do a beam super and punish the character that's being tagged out. So it's not like you can just do that all the time, like brain dead wise, and constantly do that, right? There is timing involved to avoid getting punished.
Like especially in this game where you only have 2 characters, so if you're both getting hit, that could be lights out for the entire match.
The thing is though, if both characters are getting hit, the damage on the assist character or the character that's being tagged out looks like it's about the same as the point character that's getting hit.
Oh, it's not unscaled?
It's not unscaled like or increased damage like Marvel 3.
Yeah, Marvel 2 was like that as well.
Yeah. So and that makes sense to me, right? Because it is only 2 characters this time around. If the one character took more damage, I mean, like matches would end really fast.
Yeah, and another thing. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, another thing about the new tag system is that the blue flash. Like a lot of people were saying, oh, this might be really distracting because it takes a lot of time, but it actually doesn't, and it really helps from a spectator point of view to understand what's going on. Because with assists, sometimes it was like a bit messy on screen, especially when like supers were flying around and projectiles and whatnot. But with this, you can immediately tell when someone's tagging in and how the match is going on. And even as a player, right, like you can tell that something's happening and I need to take an action to prevent you maybe from being rushed down or stuff like that. You can tell when the tag's happening, and I think it's like it really helps with the clarity, I guess, the understanding what's going on in general.
Yeah. I mean, like, if they had it so that, your character gets unscaled damage if they get hit when you're calling and switching in, and you get blown up like that, it would just have the wrong effect because it would discourage you to use that system. They want to encourage you to use it as much as possible. So, it's just another thing that makes sense to it. So I do like this new system. It is a lot different, the stone, the tag, having the 2v2 format. Like I can see why they called the game Marvel's Capcom Infinite rather than Marvel's Capcom 4. But I think when people get their hands on it and they really explore the system, they'll see that the game is really deep with those 2 systems alone. It's good. It's refreshing.
But what do you think about the simplified inputs?
That's the next topic.
Okay.
But anything else you guys want to talk about with the tag system?
No, it's good. It's fun at least.
Okay. So next topic is the controls and the combo system. So I guess I don't know. We can start off with the auto combo system, I guess. What do you think with the auto combo system, Jim?
I don't know why they keep adding these stupid mechanics.
But it's not.
It's the training wheels, man.
I know, but it's like, God, like the thing is though, like with those kind of options, like when they're done, they have to make the combo not very useful, and thus then people won't use it because it's like, okay, well this combo, it's there, but it's not very powerful. It doesn't do much damage. Like I should learn something better. But a lot of times I find when that system is implemented, the combos are very serviceable, and it's just like some people are like, well, why bother? Like
they're a crutch, and so
they're
what happens is people continue to use it. They don't really look to expand. For a casual player, they're like, oh, I got this. I'm gonna continue using it. So it doesn't like actually serve the purpose of getting their feet wet and then having them learn something better later on.
yeah.
That's how I see it. Like when I hear of like an auto combo system, or even like an auto like reversal system, like Persona as an example. Like the way I see it is that the idea is, okay, we want to put in an auto combo system. We're not going to make it too strong, but we're going to make it so that someone who's just starting the game can dive in and be able to do some stuff right away, right? And the idea is once they learn that, they will soon realize that they can do a lot better combos, and it will encourage them to want to improve the combos because they want more. But what I think the reality is just human nature, I guess. It's just that if someone finds something easy to do and it's still effective enough to win matches, they're just gonna rely on it and never want to improve on it and always use it. I feel like the kind of person that is too lazy to want to learn how to do a regular bread and butter manually, I highly doubt they will have the dedication to want to even learn a basic combo. Like, do you guys agree with me, or?
Yeah, basically.
Yep.
Okay, Amir?
Like
I just have to look at my one friend every time, and he's like the perfect example of the
Who's
casual
this?
player.
Who's
Mark.
this, Killy?
It's Mark.
What?
Dude, he
What?
comes. He does. It's like the perfect example. Every time I talk about fighting games with him, it's like the perfect example. Everything that like is wrong, what I feel is wrong with fighting games.
What the hell is
It
this call out?
caters to him. It caters to him every time.
I say
I'm
that to
like,
my cousin all the time. He doesn't even play
you're-
fighting games.
It's like you're ruining fighting games for me.
I know. I talk to my cousin all the time. Like on the phone, I'm like, yeah. I'm like, are you picking up Marvel Infinite? Because that game's made for you. And he's like, what? What do you mean? I don't play fighting games. I'm like, it's made for you. Buy it. And then I hang up on it, right? But like, it's just...
like,
Go ahead, man.
back on the like easy combos topic, like auto combos. Like I think that the interesting part about those is that, like from a competitive standpoint, is that like especially if you're not like super good, maybe you get a stray hit, and like you really want to like get a conversion off of it, but you're not ready. You still have the auto combo to help you out. Basically, it's not optimal. It's not like good damage, but you still got a conversion, right? And maybe you can get something afterwards. So I think that's the important part about it from a competitive standpoint. And I understand the point of like putting them into the game for, you know, new people to get started. But yeah, like it's really easy to get to a point where they're just a bit too strong, and then you don't want to learn anything else, or they're just too weak, and then they're useless, right? Like it's a very fine line that you're walking, basically, the balance of auto combos.
My issue with the whole thing is like I understand it's there as a teaching tool and as training wheels basically, but if you have a good tutorial mode built into the damn game,
Oh no.
like it could teach you that way too. Like I mean, I always go back to this, and it's like Guilty Gear has the best tutorial to help you learn the game.
What about
And
Tekken
anyone that ever wants to learn how to play Guilty Gear, I literally tell them go through the tutorial. And then talk to me afterwards if you have any questions.
Shit.
And most of the time, a lot of people say, you know what, like, it was very robust. It taught me a lot of things to get moving. And then now I'm ready to learn combos. Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like anyone that would actually use the auto combo system really has no interest in actually learning how to play the game for the most part.
They were not committed from the very start. If they cannot go through a robust tutorial mode, if one is available...
Well, Killy, remember Albert was over? And he was playing... He just, like, wanted to play something, right? So we set up Guilty Gear for him. And the first thing he did is he went to the tutorial mode. And then he eventually gave up.
He gave up on the trials.
He gave up
He
on
didn't
the
give up
trials?
on the... Yeah, he got through the tutorial
Oh,
mode.
I thought he gave up on
And
the
then-
tutorial.
No, he gave up on the trials.
Oh.
He's like, I want to use Potemkin. And then he's like
Oh.
doing Potemkin trials, and then he gave up midway through because he didn't have the execution for it.
Uh-huh. Well,
He needed down input.
Dude, no, don't spoil it. Don't spoil the down input. Well, Jim, you played a lot of Persona, right? So,
Yeah, I played it
in pro play, did they use the auto combo system?
The difference with that one is like some of the combos actually required like parts
You
of
actually
the auto combo system.
actually needed it in some combos because what was it? Because they had their own animation. So like I used Narukami in that thing, and like some of his combos ended in auto combo.
Oh.
So you ended a combo like AAA because it left you at positional advantage.
Oh.
But you didn't actually go through with the whole thing. But you needed
Yeah.
it for like the ender of one of his of a couple of combos because of positional reasonings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I don't mind if that system is implemented. Like I mean, Persona is not really a good fighting game by any stretch of the means, but I like the fact that you could interrupt the auto combo system and go into an actual like go and ad lib the combo afterwards. So you can use a part of the auto combo system and then add on to it afterwards if you want to like your own combo. So if you're gonna implement that, like I don't mind that.
The biggest issue I have with like auto combos is that it's always a mash one button thing, and it always screws up double tapping for me. So I hate that. But with Marvel Infinite's case, they already said you can turn off auto combos.
Yeah.
So it's really like a non-issue, in my opinion.
And
like another thing about auto combos is because of the like how the Marvel combo system works. Where you have a ground combo into a launcher into an air combo.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can probably like do an auto combo for say the ground and then continue with an actual combo in the air. So I guess you kind of have that thing where you don't have to use auto combos all the way through.
I mean, yeah, I'm just scared of, like, I was scared of, like, the whole light confirm thing with cross Tekken, but this whole auto combo system, just so people know if they haven't played the game, like, it will not have any effect at all on like high end play, like, or even online play. Like any player who relies on auto combos and that's all they're gonna do, if they play against anybody competent who like actually knows combos, they're gonna get absolutely destroyed in this game. In fact, I don't think there's any real crutches that will help somebody like that really doesn't play fighting games beat anybody average at all.
No.
Like the auto combo is such low damage. Like obviously we haven't optimized combos yet, but from watching the other pros play at E3, like they're already finding some pretty strong combos, and like I can't imagine when this game launches the amount of tech everyone's gonna find. But seeing like the average Joe use this auto combo like online, they're gonna get destroyed. It just doesn't do nearly enough damage. And I think it's gonna be mostly used for like two bros playing on the couch with each other, not as some kind of online thing. It would just be a disaster.
An auto combo won't save you if you don't know how to block.
There's just no way. Also, there's a single command for a super. It was hard punch, hard kick, wasn't it?
No, I don't think so. I think it was.
It was the
wasn't it the
punches,
Infinity? Wasn't it the Infinity Storm activation?
No, it was hard punch.
Because it's
hard
like, I know when you activate the easy super and when you have Infinity Storm activated, it just does level 3 automatically and it cashes out the rest of your Infinity meter.
Yeah.
The Infinity Storm activation is tag. And
stone.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
at the same time. I thought if you pressed them pressed it again afterwards, it would do the easy super.
No, I think easy hyper combos are 2 punches, aren't they?
What? You guys are both wrong. Remember. It's hard punch, hard kick.
Oh, there you have it. We didn't really use them.
No, we know.
I did. I was checking.
No, we know.
No, you know. Anyways, like that also, people were skeptical on that as well. But it won't affect the game because it's only a specific super for each character too.
And it's like the equivalent of like THC in Marvel 3, where you push like both assist and it does the THC based on your levels. It's like, consider it something like that. And I actually like the idea of where it does a level 3 and cashes out your infinity meter, because that actually doesn't touch your super meter. So that means you can do a level 3 without having 3 bars of super, at the cost of spending the rest of your infinity meter.
They said they were experimenting with that though. I don't think they don't know if they're gonna keep that in the game or not.
If they keep, I wouldn't mind if they kept it. I think it adds something, right? Because it adds something for combos.
Yeah. Yeah, it's as long as like the level 3s aren't too nuts, but I don't think they really are. In terms of just Hail Mary kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Now, I guess, yeah, let's talk about those down-down inputs now. Jeez. It was funny. Well, like, me and Killy were playing, and Killy could not do Ouroboros with fucking Strider. He could not figure out how to do it.
Every input of Ouroboros in previous games.
You literally tried everything.
And I'm like... I was sitting here after I played, and I'm talking to you. I'm like, I can't figure out how to do Ouroboros. I'm like, what wasn't in the other games?
I was just like eating, and I was just like, did you try using down?
And I'm like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, it can't be, man. It can't be. And I'm like, I tried DP motions. I tried quarter circle. I tried half circle. It's like reverse DP motions. Like I tried everything.
Yeah.
You're like, I betcha it's down. and then I get on the cab again.
Yeah.
And the first thing I do is, because we both got on the cab together. And it's like, okay, let's see this. I went down, 2, I think it was 2 kicks. And he did Ouroboros. And I'm like, no!
I rolled my eyes. I rolled my eyes so far back. I was like, oh, God. Brutal.
Well, at least you have the opportunity to turn them off, don't you? Or
no.
do you?
No,
you don't.
That was like some rumor.
Rip.
Some sick rumor. Some sick ass rumor.
Another thing that was in the demo, like the E3 demo, is reuse DP is an actual DP, like a DP motion.
They already said that from Capcom already debunked down DP motions for Ryu, but like Morgan, it was down. Every install super, so Dante's double trigger, Morgan's what was it?
Well, I know that Arthur's golden armor is down.
And Morgan's like astral vision, they're all down motions.
Oh no.
So every install every install super is a down motion.
Every time I just see the down motion, I feel like I should just be swiping my finger twice across the screen.
No.
But like there's a ton of down specials. Like I think almost every character had like a down special. If you look at Dante's move list, it's literally like flooded with down motions.
I know. Scroll down.
down.
Just down for days. No.
At least you cannot get, this is one thing we tested. You cannot get a down special in crouch.
So but we didn't try a 3-1-3 motion.
Yes, we tried that. We tried all the variations. Yes.
Oh no.
So you cannot get a down special from crouch. So you can't mash it during crouch block.
Fuck.
And then get like Morgan's DP, for example. Doesn't work that way. But if you're trying to wave dash, that's a whole other issue. You try to wave dash, you're getting down.
Oh, special. If you're a Dante, you're gonna be doing full combos trying to wave dash, man. Volcano into Beehive. It's gonna be ridiculous. It was down into down. And Devil Trigger's probably down, isn't it? I
told you, every install super is a down motion.
Oh,
I said Dante's Devil Trigger is also down.
Oh my god, dude. So like we're talking about how the auto combo and this easy hyper combo stuff doesn't affect the game. This does for me. I think this does affect it for me, man, because like I don't know, down motions are harder for me, man, than a DP motion. They're harder, dude. I don't know. It's not smooth. Was that me?
Well, it's just that you need to get used to it, I guess. Like it's something that we don't really see in fighting games, at least not that much.
Not in Capcom. In most traditional
No.
2D fighters, we didn't see many down.
What is the
mechanics.
point of it?
It's easier,
Obviously,
I
it's
guess.
for simplicity, right? It's clearly like accessibility. But I think they did actually thought some of it through in terms of like making sure you can't do it out of crouching and crouch block, for example. Like it could be I was just messing up because I'm not a masher, so
I
I'm
mean,
not good at I'm not good at mashing out reversals like that. But I couldn't get a down
we needed
special to
Qual
come
to be
out.
there.
Yeah.
He would have been like
Qual.
the best to test. I mean, another problem too is that this is one of the reasons why we can't have easy DP motions in other fighting games like Street Fighter V is because you can autocorrect that shit. It'd be a serious problem. We'd have Rising Thunder all over again, and then that's why I think the design of Ed with his 2 kicks making a DP, like the way they designed that was really well done to not make it like broken. And maybe that's the reason why Ryu's DP or Shoryuken is still a DP motion in Infinite because it's invincible.
That's my guess on that.
And I don't think we tested doing that from crouch.
The
But-
DP? No, we didn't test like Ryu's DP.
Who the hell would
from
pick
crouch.
Ryu at the demo station?
Oh, I
Mirror.
don't know.
What kind of
Mirror's,
sick,
Mirror's all
sick
over. Mirror's
bastard?
all over Ryu, man. That guy used
You
to
play
use
Ryu,
like that.
Mirror?
Well, just for testing purposes.
Yeah,
for
it's
testing
just,
purposes.
like interesting.
What's wrong
You know,
with
he
you?
did
because
use it quite a bit.
It's just like a stable character, right? So definitely
He
try him
wasn't.
out.
You couldn't use him in the story demo too. I thought you could. That's why I avoided him. But you actually
Oh.
couldn't use him in the story demo. So it's like
Good
oh.
thinking, Mirror. Good thinking.
I was all over Arthur instead. Like I just
Oh,
love
God.
silly characters. That's my thing.
Does Ryu
Arthur's
still have
not
Denjin
bad in
mode?
those two.
Does he still
What?
have the install? The Denjin install?
I didn't.
Oh.
Look, we did record the move list, so go check the footage. Check the
Really?
tapes.
Oh, I didn't check
Yes.
that. Is
Check
it
the
down
tape.
down?
Yeah, I don't. I don't think he has it.
I'll
I
check
don't
it later.
remember. I don't remember.
I think he has. What is it? Shin Quadoken, Shin Shoryuken, and the Tatsu Super, right?
Super. Yeah.
Mm.
I don't remember.
I like
if he
that
had
Denjin mode because when he did the Tatsu Super, it was like a thunderstorm. It was amazing.
It was cool.
It
Yeah,
was
Dungeon
cool.
mode was cool,
It was cool. Nobody used them.
except for Ray Ray. Ray Ray for a limited
Chris G
time.
used them for a while too.
He also has Donkey Kick.
Yes, he does.
It's a Kuroseko Ford motion.
I was just gonna say, is it a downtown motion? I don't like the down motions, guys. I don't like it.
I'm kinda impartial on it. It depends on the functionality
I'm
of
not
the
impartial, I
special
just don't like
and
it.
whether it overlaps.
These
If
are
you
dark
can get it
times,
out
man.
like accidentally, then I have a problem with it. But I mean, if they design it in a way where you can't get it out accidentally, and then and you can't like mash it
Yeah.
out of block stun and stuff like that. Like obviously they didn't do it for DP reversals. Like I don't think Morgan's has invincibility on it. I don't remember, but as long as you can't like mash it out, then I'm fine. But yeah, like certain functions, like anything invincible reversal or whatever, it has to have an execution barrier behind it.
Yeah.
It has
You
to.
get Persona.
No, you get rising ass. That's what happens when you have you have a easily accessible reversal
Oh my
that can be
God.
mashed out. That's what you get.
Your autocorrects.
Oh
That's
my
pretty
god.
funny.
It's not
but
an
do you-
autocorrect. It's like even just pressuring, and then they're like, well, reversal on the first frame. Just roll your eyes. But
Yeah.
again, it's not just even one button. If you could mash out a reversal like you could in SF4, then you still have the same problem. So really, it's down to the design of the game. You got to make it so that either like you do an execution barrier or you can't mash it out.
What about
Yeah, and I
the?
think
Oh, sorry. What was that?
no, I was just about to say. I think that the only like actual DP motion that we saw was Ryu's. I don't think we saw any others. But I'm not sure if it's just because we didn't test all the characters properly, or if it's unique to him.
Maybe it's an homage to the original
Maybe.
DP motion.
It's an homage. This is just a tribute.
Oh man. They're like, I can just see like some new player who's like, what is with this motion? It's like, well, back in the day, we used to use the Shoryuken motion, and that's where you
Well,
learn about it.
I can also see someone that's completely new to Marvel pick Ryu just to, have a character that they kind of know.
Yeah.
And they're like trying to do a DP motion and it's down, down, right? And they'd be like, oh, what is this? Like, why can't I get my Shoryuken out? And so that's why it's a DP motion.
Oh man, wait until they play Dante.
Down central, man.
Yeah. So what about the combo system? What do you guys think of the combo system as a whole?
We didn't get a whole lot to really experiment with it, so we're just mostly relying on the universal mechanics followed by like tagging, which felt very repetitive and not really satisfying. But then, like, you're watching Des do combo videos, and you're like, oh, you can do all these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not worried anymore about the combo system because it looks like there's still other options to really expand it for a single character before you even need to tag.
Another thing too is like every character can just like go sweep into OTG now.
Every character has a sweep, has an OTG, but not every character has a wall bounce. But you're allowed one wall bounce per combo.
Yeah, so it's like Marvel 3's system. Right. Another thing too is like the videos like Des made, like the story mode demo, like the engine's a little bit different. Like every time you tag, the character stays on the screen a little bit longer when you take them out, which makes it so you can't instant tag right away, and it just gets longer and longer and longer, and eventually you gotta keep the combo going long enough before it drops, and then you can't do it infinite basically.
Not just that, but like every time you tag in, they get further and further.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In the E3 build, it's different. It's not the same. In the E3 build, instead of doing that, they made it so the character comes further and further away to make it even harder, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and this is on top of the hit stun deterioration in the game, whereas the more you hit your opponent, the less hit stun they'll get, and eventually they'll flip out, kind of thing. So.
Yeah, and another thing with the combo mechanic is that because his tag is so important even for combos, like depending on your team you'll get like combos that are so different, right? Like the enders especially, because of all the supers and whatnot. So like you really have to adjust what you do after the combo based on the team that you have. Like maybe some teams don't have enough time to activate like their Infinity Zone, right? Like maybe you want to think you're a team comp again if you want. Like I don't know, a certain amount of advantage after a combo. Like it definitely adds some depth to it for sure.
Yeah.
Like Achilles said, we didn't have a lot of time to figure out the ins and outs of the combo system.
Yeah, instead we wasted our time figuring out what was a down motion. For the priorities, man. Anything else you guys want to talk about in terms of the controls or combo system?
Well, something that I'd like to mention is the fact that now when you do a super jump, you can do...
that's the next topic.
The hop.
That's the next topic.
Oh, is the next topic?
Yes.
Okay, so let's not spoil the surprise.
Okay. Anything else, though, in terms of the controls or combos?
No, they felt okay to me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, the dashes were a bit different, but...
Oh, wait. I need to know from Marvel 3 heads about this. When you're plink dashing, in Marvel Infinite, it actually triggers proximity block from anywhere on screen, including full screen away. And I sort of understand why it would do that, but like from full screen away, that's very suspect. And I can't remember in Marvel 3 whether that was the case or not.
It sounds like more of a glitch than anything else.
It does feel like it's not supposed to be.
You're talking about full screen, the proximity.
A full screen, yes. And we actually have footage of that. Check the tapes again. But from full screen...
Check the tapes.
Check the tapes.
Check the tapes. From full screen, yeah, definitely when I was plink dashing backwards, even forwards, it would trigger proximity block.
Yeah. Okay.
Which seems really, really questionable. But also, I feel like the screen size or whatever, like how far the screen pulls back, is a lot less than Marvel 3.
Okay. All right. Next topic is the speed of the game and that new low jump mechanic. So, Mir, go ahead since you really want to talk about it.
Well, no, it was just I just wanted to mention the fact that like if you do a super jump motion, right, down up, and then you hold down, you get this like hop that's really low to the ground. Well, it's not really low to the ground.
It's actually you can actually get it really low to the ground based on
Yeah,
what I
no,
saw.
but it's like it depends on the character that you're using. For example, when I was using Arthur, like Arthur seems to have a really good one because he's very small as a character, and so when he jumps, he can like basically do this hop really close to the ground. But when I was trying out Doctor Strange, even if you do the low hop, you still jump a pretty good amount. So definitely depending on like it depends on the character. For sure, certain characters have like different hops and well as they have different jumps. So I can see like certain characters just use the hop to push a mix up or make it really hard to anti-air them.
But you can also combine it with other movement options. You can actually get a really low air dash.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah, I think that was it's a nice addition. It's an interesting addition. Not only for movement, but even like if you feel you've overcommitted on a super jump and you feel like you're gonna get punished, you can actually hold down and at any point during your super jump to kill the upwards momentum. So it adds more to the neutral game.
Yeah, and like it also depends. Like the height of the jump depends on how much, like how long you held down. Basically, like if you just tap it, it's basically like a normal super jump. Like it doesn't go that much.
Yeah, you have to really hold it down.
Yeah, exactly. So it's scalable, basically.
Yeah, it's also anyone who's like listening to this. It's in the story mode demo. Like that mechanic is in there if you guys want to test it out yourselves to see it. It's just down up, and then at any point of your super jump, you just hold down, and your character will like kind of stop on a dime. And when you're jumping forward, it just makes this very odd trajectory, which is really cool. And it doesn't replace like a triangle jump, obviously, but like it allows characters that you wouldn't normally expect to be able to rush you down. Like as Mir said, Arthur is a good example. Also, there was like a really cool video released recently that showed like the applications of it. Did you guys see it? It showed like Mega Man being able to fully charge his Buster in the air and shoot it before he hits the ground, and then shoot it again, and weird things like that. It was really interesting. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's a nice little addition they've added to the game that they haven't really talked about too much. So
outside of the combo theme,
outside of the combo theme breakdown.
Yeah.
What about the speed, like the flow of the game?
It feels slower than Marvel 3, I guess.
Definitely, it definitely feels slower than Marvel 3.
But I kind of don't mind it that much. Yeah. Granted, like it does feel good when you're plink dashing like a million miles an hour.
Yeah.
But I can understand why they went with that direction. I still think you'll still get crazy movement, and crazy. Like also the screen doesn't, like I said, the screen doesn't pull back as far as Marvel 3. So you're gonna be in like closer proximity to your opponent more than usual. So it's like it's not necessary to be able to plink dash across the screen in like 3 seconds. Right? Like 2 plink dashes and you're already in your opponent's face.
Yeah.
And
like we don't want to slow down the game to the point where like we can't open them up, right? Like that's the point of Marvel.
It's
like,
not that slow, but it's like it is slower than Marvel 3, and then you have a lot of other, like there's still a lot of movement options in general. Like characters still have air dashes. You still have 3 or 4 characters that have tri jumps.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't foresee it being an issue, and it makes it increases the focus. Well, I wouldn't say increases. That's not a good way to phrase it. But I still think you'll still get a good like neutral game. Still like a fast-paced neutral game.
And also, as the meta develops, you're definitely going to have, you know, people are going to figure out teams and stuff that you can do in neutral to open up your opponent, so that like lowered speed is definitely going to be like important, let's say, because it could get how do you say
Chaotic?
it? Yeah, too chaotic, too crazy, right? Like especially with the Infinity Stones and all of that. Like maybe they felt like they needed to lower the speed a bit.
I still think we're gonna get some really crazy and chaotic mix-ups, anyways, just with how the tag system is. I think people are gonna really figure out some dirty stuff.
Actually,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
reminds
exactly.
me. I don't think we mentioned this before, but they have a system in place that if you get hit by an overhead and low at the same time, you can block it.
In either directions, but they also did say you delay one or the other, and then it's like, what say you? Right?
Oh god.
Oh yeah, like hard to blockables are like important, as in.
Did you say hard to blockables?
That's
What?
that's the
Does that
term.
trigger
That's
you?
the term.
I've never heard that term in my life.
Really?
Well,
Oh,
no.
it's
The more you
commonly
know,
used
The
now.
more you know.
Yeah, the more you know. But anyways, when you get in, like the point of that situation is that like certain characters cannot open you up with a cross up like consistently, maybe because they have a bad jump or something like that. So you need to create an like a down up mix up, right? So that's their way of opening you up, basically. So that makes sense. Like you having those setups is fine as long as they're not everywhere, you know. Otherwise, you get an NRS situation.
That's funny.
I mean, but there's some pretty nasty ways to set up cross-ups in this game. I think one of the gameplay videos they show like Thanos, he does air combo spike as he's falling. He goes Reality Stone, tags. The tag goes through the knockdown body, so corpse hopses. The guy wakes up, Reality Stone, cross up.
It's gross.
And it's like, oh, that's an interesting application. Or you go zero and you do the lightning thing, where he goes diagonal down in like 45-degree angle, and you tag, right? Screw, because zero came in as a cross up or whatever. But you tag, so he goes out. So the incoming character is coming from the opposite direction. So it's like screws up your which way you need to block, and then crosses up that way.
Yeah, even with zoning teams, like you can have a lot of projectiles on screen and then attempt to cross up your opponent and then convert off the air hit that you get, for example, off of a projectile, right? So you definitely have options, and the lowered speed, I can see like why they did that, you know, just because it, especially with the Infinity Stones, that's what worries me the most. Like say the Space Stone, right? Like it moves you. You can use that to create like a bunch of weird situations with the tag, right? Because maybe they are used to block a certain setup in a certain way, and then you move them with the Space Stone into the same setup, and now you have to block them the opposite way. And so yeah, it can get crazy really really fast. But it's a Marvel game, so you'd expect it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, there wasn't too many tri-jumpers, in a sense, with like I think it was like Captain Marvel,
Marvel,
Ultron.
Nova, Ultron are the three that I can think of that have tri-jumps.
In terms of like the combos though, like do you guys think that people get more hype over just constant resets than giant long combos that just eventually kill you?
Yes, I
Because
think
Marvel
resets
3 was like very combo based, and Marvel 2 is very reset based.
Yeah, so Marvel 3 was like touch of death combos the majority of the time.
Yeah.
And the combos were long because it's like double assist extensions or whatever. Or you have Zero doing touch of death by himself. Same with Virgil or X Factor.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I didn't like that. One, it's you made one mistake in neutral, you got touched and the combo kills you, so that seems kind of dumb in itself. Two, the combo is really long, so you gotta watch it, like Tack Infinites and stuff. It's just boring. It's boring.
It was funny at first though.
But at least with Marvel 2, it's like You know the guy is getting combo, but you're like, okay, at any minute here,
Yeah.
a reset can happen. And when the reset lands, you're like, oh my god. You're like, first of all, the reset is super dirty
Yeah.
because it's super ambiguous. It's
Mhm.
like, charge up low. You didn't block it. Stupid.
Yes. You know, there's some cross-ups with Magneto where the opponent has to block forward, but it's not a cross-up, and they both block in the same direction. It's like really nutty stuff. But why is it that people like resets so much in Marvel games and mix-ups, but they hate it in games like Street Fighter V? You know,
The resets in SF5?
or just like
because,
yeah,
I don't,
the 50s, 50s
because
and
there's
such.
no options in SF5 to deal with the reset,
Mhm.
right? You're literally like I don't know, like it's just the lack of options, and like what the reset really involves in, right? It's usually like um a simple mix-up of some sort, right? Or a throw or command grab or something.
Yeah.
Those aren't as entertaining to watch because it's like a single thing. But like Marvel, you'll get like 2 to 3 resets that happen in quick succession. And when someone gets hit by each reset, you're just the opponent's just on tilt, right?
Yeah.
They're just rolling because they're like, oh my god, I just got hit by 3 resets in like span of 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the crowd's going insane because they understand what just happened. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh my god, that guy got opened up so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And like another thing about resets, and well, it's more about long combos in Marvel games, is that like when they get extra long, they end up not dealing like a lot of damage with the last hits.
Mhm.
So like you end a combo in super, and the super does, or the hyper, I guess, does like 3%, and you're like, whoa, 3%, that's great. But like you take Street Fighter V, right, with the damages pretty much through the roof,
Yeah.
and super is don't get skilled below 50%. Like a long combo can still be like feel satisfying even for like an audience, right? Like you see a long combo into super and it still deals like what a massive amount of damage. So like it gets boring looking at combos that are super long and don't deal like satisfying damage, right? So
And
the reset is an opportunity to get more damage in and keep the thing.
there's a risk reward scenario with a reset, right? And that's what makes them entertaining.
The risk being you're dropping your combo on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Giving up damage basically.
I think there was I think the level 3s in Marvel 3 is unscaled. I think it was just I think it was just the Marvel the not Marvel 3s, the level 3s. I'm pretty sure. I have to talk to David about that. He'd know.
The other part with long combos is that they're usually loops. So you're seeing the same X amount of moves being repeated, and you're like, oh, that's not as entertaining.
Yeah.
The first iteration of Skullgirls was notorious for long combos, and they were all loops.
Oh.
And the way you would bypass the infinite prevention system in that game was you at the key junction of the loop, you used a different normal to start the loop again. So you'd go, say you would like get to that point where you start the loop, and then this time you use standing light punch instead, and then the next time you get to it, you do like standing light kick instead. Then you go crouching medium kick, and then crouching medium punch, and then standing heavy punch, and that literally was like the early combo system of Skullgirls. It was just ridiculous, and I'm like, okay, I'm dead from this, but the combo itself looked really lame because it's a loop, and all he's changing is one button at this juncture. It's like really stupid. Of course, they fixed it afterwards, but it was like, wow. But yeah, that's usually my issues with long combos. It's like majority of the time they are loops.
Like the combo structure is like right now for Infinite, it's like ground combo to air combo to a spike to a tag to your other tag character's combo, and then like a super finish. Is that pretty much the meta right now?
That or like spike and then OTG relaunch into whatever, then tag.
And we also tested like tagging multiple times in a combo, so that's like another thing that
You can get
can be more
at
explored.
least 2 tags in that kind of format.
Okay.
Yeah, and every time you tag, there's an opportunity for a reset. Like if you want to get tricky, especially with certain teams, right?
For sure.
So that's where the like exciting part comes in, right? Like maybe you could go for the long combo for the the guaranteed damage, or just go for resets, and we'll see. Like as the meta develops, we'll see what's more optimal, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely something that we cannot just say right now, like how this is gonna go. But yeah, resets are definitely going to be important, especially because the tagging is so prevalent, right? So you can always push a mix up, like in the right situation, of course.
Yeah.
Right setup.
Any other mechanics you guys want to talk about in the game?
I think that's all of them.
Yeah, we pretty much did talk about most of them. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about? The projectile reflect.
Oh yeah, that's the instant timed.
Yeah, so if you push
block.
block a projectile within a certain amount of frames, the beginning frames, you'll deflect the projectile. They said it won't work with hyper combos.
It won't work versus beam projectiles, but it'll work against like a Hadoken or Soul Fist, Reality Gem.
Detached projectiles, basically.
Yeah, it won't work against like hit scan, like
but-
Chris's Magnum or something.
Yeah, like it's definitely necessary though. Like I can see zoning teams being really oppressive because you can tag so liberally and just have a lot of fireballs on screen, right? So you want a way to get in, especially if your team doesn't have a good way to deal with zoning. Although mobility is like really high in Marvel games, you can still cover the air and the ground with the tagging system, and reality stone and whatnot. Especially because you can like reset the use with the tag, right? So you can really, like, I have a lot of things on
You
screen.
can fill the screen quite a bit. Yeah, with stuff.
So like it's an interesting mechanic. I don't think it's gonna be abused, but it's gonna come in handy in certain situations.
And it can be reflected, as far as I know, infinite times. You can definitely do like rose ball with this stuff.
I think it was like really necessary when I realized you can reflect the reality stones projectile. I'm like,
they're homing.
Yeah, it's homing. I'm like, and when you reflect it, I'm like, man, yeah, I feel like this mechanic really was necessary for the stuff that's gonna be happening in this game for sure. You definitely need something to defend against it.
I think they also wanted to eliminate Soul Fist, like Mora Doom from Marvel 3. Granted, all you could do is change the flight mechanics of Morgan.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think that's really.
I think that's them like foresight and saying, okay, maybe if some sort of strong projectile team comes out or some strong keep away gets discovered, this is one mechanic that could potentially mitigate that.
Yeah.
Like another thing would be, say, if they use projectiles to push a mix-up all the time, you could like reflect the projectile and put them on the defensive, right? Like because they have to block the reflected projectile and they cannot push their mix-up anymore. For example, like that could be a situation where this comes really in handy.
The key thing is that there are options in Marvel Infinite, like actual more defensive options.
Yeah.
So you're never too limited in a situation for the most part. But again, this is before the meta is developed, so we don't know for a fact. But at least there are options there.
Oh yeah. Another thing that I feel it's very important to mention that's quite different from previous Marvel games is that chip is not very prevalent in this game, especially if you use Advancing Guard. Like chip on
chip damage seemed minimal.
I wasn't paying attention to it.
No, it's almost unnoticeable. Like on beam supers and stuff.
Beam supers don't do a whole lot of chip damage.
Okay.
Yeah, if you Advanced Guard, it's almost like zero. They definitely decided to like stray away from that mechanic. You saw that in Street Fighter 5 too, right? Like where chip doesn't kill you, so like they they're trying to make it a bit more, I don't know, controlled. I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Rip trap teams.
No, I think Trap Team's gonna be extra sick in this game. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
yeah,
I think
so-
it's possible to do some sort of trapping of sorts. I think Rocket Raccoon's really good for something like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And then, hey, Ouroboros is level 1, so
but you gotta do it down motion though.
yeah.
that's
do
that's
that.
the steep
You have
requirement.
to, you have to put that into consideration.
there was a steep cost.
I mean,
A sacrifice had to be made.
like,
Yeah, the sacrifice is your integrity.
yeah, I mean, like you could do a down motion in training mode, no problem. But like in the heat of battle, when the stakes are high, we'll see, we'll see.
It just will turn into a teabag fest, you know.
As you get hit by an overhead. Okay, so moving on. We're almost closing up here. I don't know if I should combine these two topics together, but basically the potential of the game and the problems of the game. I guess let's talk about the potential first. So, do you guys see potential in this game? Do you see this game having a future after playing it?
If we're judging strictly on the gameplay, yes, there is potential for the game.
Mm-hmm.
But competitively, it's just people. It solely depends on Capcom at this point. It depends on how they handle the launch, how much content they provide, how much meaningful content they provide.
Mm-hmm.
The net code is really important. We have no real insight on the net code.
I know they're
So
using
the-
servers this time.
Yeah. So if the net code's no good, like it's not a good sign here.
Yeah. Jim?
and-
Well, yeah, there's definitely some potential here. They really, to be honest, like a lot of it is they have to do some really got to work on the PR here. Got to try and change the perceptions of what people have. Like I don't know if this is the thing is though, like it could end up being a good game,
Yeah.
but like the damage is really severe right now in terms of the PR of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure if they're going to be able to turn that around, even if the game is good. So I don't know. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but like as it stands right now, like I mean, they got a lot of work to do.
Mir?
Well, I think that the game definitely has potential, and it opens up for a lot of like interesting teams and like team compositions in general because of the reality stones and how they can affect your gameplay, right? Like you can have a team that's like that plays in a very different way from the same team with a different reality stone, right? So that definitely will keep the game fresh for a while, unless we run into like severe balancing issues where something is just too strong.
Mm-hmm.
But like if Capcom is willing to balance this game a bit more often than Street Fighter 5, and I can see this game like needing some balance, especially because it's like so, like it's Marvel, right? It's crazy. So
you have to let some things rock in Marvel versus games because it's meant to be crazy in some aspects. But the only thing you're trying to avoid is degenerate dominant strategies, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's up to the community to really classify what is a degenerate dominant strategy.
Like if everyone's using the same Infinity Stone, then that's an issue.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically my concern, but I think that the game definitely has potential to be fun, and the game felt like fun when we played it, even though we literally knew next to nothing. Well, we knew something, right? But still, the game felt like it had, that depth that we were looking for. So that felt nice for sure. So. I hope that the game will succeed, but yeah, again, the PR is really, really bad, and the models, the graphics, and the demo. Don't play the demo, guys. They don't help, unfortunately.
So funny. you know, it's like usually when like a fighting game is coming out, usually it's like hard to get that base mechanics right. You know, usually that's the thing that needs to be worked on and such. But I think Marvel Infinite's got a really good starting point for the potential of the game engine. But they gotta have it backwards with the presentation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if they somehow correct the presentation and such, then I think they got a really good game, right?
Yeah, they need to like make sure that the game stays alive until all the popular characters are in, which they're coming later as DLC, right?
Yeah, they got a time limit basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I'm not really concerned about the gameplay at this point. I think the foundation of the E3 demo was a good sign, but
Yeah.
I'm more concerned with the final release of the game and because they have to basically undo the damage that SF5 did. So that means the game has to be really robust on launch. It has to have meaningful content. Just having story mode out on launch and arcade mode and stuff like that is not enough. You have to have a very robust launch to really undo the negativity that happened with SF5 and the negativity that you're seeing now with Marvel Infinite. So, like B-Rush said, like they need to have a really good marketing strategy, a really good PR campaign here to undo the initial impressions. And they need to just ensure that final product is good, like that final presentation is good, and you have a lot of content there. If they fail to do any of that, the future of that game doesn't look good, regardless of the gameplay.
So what do you guys think like they should prioritize on fixing right now?
Graphics and just ensuring netcode and content. I think the gameplay is on the right track.
Yeah, I think mainly it's just address some of the complaints that the community has, especially with the graphics. They need to actually do some PR and show the good points of the game and make it exciting again. Because as it stands right now, like what they put out in terms of media, like I could honestly give a shit about the game. Just if I didn't know nothing about it, I'd look at it and be like, "What the fuck is this? This looks stupid." Like there's no energy or excitement in any of the PR they've put out. So there's definitely that needs to be addressed as well. And then really, it's just I think they need to bring the game, like bring that demo that we played at E3. They need to bring that out to more events. I don't know whether it's
Evil. They're gonna have the latest build.
Yeah. Like they need to bring that demo out to more events and have people actually touch it and play that, because right now the story mode is not representative of what we've played. Like not at all.
Everyone's opinion that we talked to, everyone had a positive opinion on it at E3, right? Like you guys didn't talk to anyone who said anything negative about it, right? Like it was all positive.
Yeah, they were all concerned about the presentation, of course, because it's like the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah.
But the gameplay and how the game feels, like it feels like fun and all of that. Everyone basically had the same opinion. Like it does feel like fun. It does feel like an interesting game.
Yeah.
So that's definitely like a step in the right direction. But like we said, the sales are going to be important, and the random player that just wants to buy a new game sees Chun-Li's face and is like, "Whoa, what's that?" Like, I don't want to play this game.
But then me, I'm gonna look at the command list and see the down. I'm like, what's that? I don't know if I want to play this game.
Well, Vesper, it's the future.
It's the future, no. For Honor is the future.
Getting ready for those touchpad controls.
A dystopian future.
Oh,
They need to They need to improve the UI. You said it yourself. That Infinity Stone.
the UI looks like
HUD.
you touch it and it activates. If you know what I'm saying.
Looks like you can touch it.
It looks like you can touch it.
A plan for the future.
It looks like if you touch your partner's health bar, you'll switch characters. If you know what I mean. Oh man.
Like the UI needs some improvement. The the HUD needs improvement. Obviously, some of the character models and animations need improvement.
The stages need improvement.
What? Oh, like
Everything needs to be Black Panther stage.
but the most is content, man. You gotta make sure that you undo SF5's lack of content on launch. Otherwise, people are like, "You did it again, Capcom. We paid full price for the game, and we got nothing for that money." Nobody wants to feel cheated in that regards, and this is really important for their target demographic that is beyond the FGC. Like their target demographic is also the casual player base. And the casual player base is not going to spend like $60-$80 for a game that has no content on launch. You can't have that. It's not feasible ever, ever. Not even in today's world. In the history of gaming, that is not feasible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, especially if you don't have like the greatest roster ever, like where are the X-Men, right? Like that's the classic.
They're coming
at this
soon,
point.
man. They're coming soon.
Yeah.
When's X-Men?
For $20.
Soon TM.
For $20, it's coming. 1999.
They need to make sure they have the right X-Men characters.
It'll be Magneto, Storm, Cyclops,
Wolverine, obviously.
Wolverine.
Or is Black Panther taking Wolverine?
Doctor Doom will randomly be in there too.
But
did I name
when's
6?
Cable, guys?
When's what?
Did I name
When's
6?
Cable?
Oh, I secretly went Cable. Especially since he's in the mobile game. Cable confirmed.
I want Psylocke, honestly.
Psylocke?
I love that character, man.
There's no assist Killy anymore. Didn't you
it
get
doesn't
the
matter.
memo?
Psylocke is a cool character.
There's no use for her anymore. The assists are gone.
She's not a function.
What if it's Olivia Munn? Psylocke.
I blame Apocalypse's writing for that.
It wasn't her fault. Okay, what do you guys think about delaying the game? Should they delay the game?
If they make an announcement already a while ago saying Capcom said if a game needed more development time, they would allow for it to be delayed.
What? They didn't say that, did they?
I think they made an announcement on that.
That's huge news, man.
I swore I read something about that.
No.
And it wasn't pertaining to Marvel Infinite. Just in general. This was in due to SF5 that they made that announcement.
As long as the delay is meaningful, as long as it means improvements for the game, like that's fine.
I'm all up for more development time.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be massive either. Like otherwise, we'll end up with 2 years of Marvel in the arcades and then no training mode. No tutorial mode.
Are we talking about like a Tekken 7 situation here?
Yes.
Or Tekken 8's going to be announced at EVO.
Yeah, I cannot wait.
I mean, seriously though, if the game needs to be delayed, then it should be delayed.
Right now, does it need to be delayed in its current state? Would you guys say it needs to be delayed?
If it needs to go gold in 2 months,
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we don't have all of the information, right? All we have is an E3 demo to go off of.
But we know it has to go gold in August, and we do know they have 2 months.
But we don't know what other content we're getting with the game. That's kind of like the scary thing, because we don't know what we're getting.
They already talked about the content.
Did they?
Yeah, it's already announced. It even says it on the Steam store. They got story mode, which we know is badass from that demo. We got arcade mode because it's arcade mode, versus online, and they got trials. The trials are back killer.
Obviously, they have a training mode, right?
Yeah.
You didn't say training mode.
They got a training mode. I don't think they got a tutorial mode though, but that's okay because Tekken 7 didn't have one. So.
Well, I mean, you could argue that was not okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Not having a good tutorial mode is actually I think it's really bad.
Yeah.
I think you're
no.
That's a frequent complaint from a lot of those video game review sites, because I always hear that every time a new fighting game comes out that doesn't have a tutorial mode. They're like, I wish they had one because I don't know how to play the game, or I don't know why I need to use this move.
But
Like,
guys,
let's go back to the Combo Fiend breakdown.
oh no.
Right? Because Combo Fiend was like joking at some of the internet response. Oh, Combo Fiend, why aren't auto combo scale? Well, look, they do like no damage in comparison to a real combo or something like that. Oh, look, you got these small hops and stuff, and then you can combine it. Isn't this so sick? But everyone's complaining, but it's like they didn't know. Well, it is not our fault that we didn't know. You cannot blame the user for not knowing about these things when you didn't release any information to begin with, right? So it's very important that you educate your player base on what is available in the game from a mechanics standpoint.
You know,
what you can do with it.
On the GameFAQs boards, Killy, there's like this sticky thread on what the V triggers do on Street Fighter 5. There's a sticky thread. A sticky thread, guys. It doesn't explain it in the game.
That's actually, that's terrible. That's incredibly bad.
Well, like that's the thing. Like even like a tutorial mode, even though like it needs to be there in a fighting game, even if it's not super in depth, as long as it has like basic concepts of the game explained in a.
It should at least explain all of the mechanics of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Like how to
bare minimum, but it really that's like not even cutting it.
You're telling me the game has to explain to you how to play?
Yes.
Is that what you're telling me?
That we know how, but
what?
You're
Jim
breaking up a lot.
Jim went robot mode. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Not good. Uh-oh.
Well, basically...
Anyways.
What's going on here?
Okay.
You're back. You're
good now.
Hello?
Hi
Yeah,
there.
start from scratch what your point was.
Okay. My point was basically that we take for granted that we understand how to play fighting games. Like, it's something that, you just know when you've been playing them for so long what to do and what to look for. But we always forget that they're wanting to pull in new player bases because as the community gets older, we need to have fresh people to come in to replace the people that either can't play anymore, just got bored with the whole thing altogether, or just don't have the time anymore to play. So you have to always have these resources available for new players. Like, even though most of the people that were planning on buying the game were probably never going to use it in the first place, you still need to have that resource there for anyone that wants to learn.
Let's look at let's look at people who are playing Injustice 2 for the first time. A lot of people didn't understand what a special cancel was and how to do it.
No, don't talk about this. No.
So I mean, like, the thing is, you have to teach people things like that. You can't you can't just expect it's like this unwritten law that people know in fighting games. Can't be that way. Can't be that unwritten law. You have to teach people all those things.
Like, think of even FPS games or role-playing games. Usually, if they have like a small tutorial at the beginning of the game, they even teach you how to move, right? Like real basics, like WASD, stuff like that. Like you said, we take it for granted for fighting games, but it is important because like sometimes you just need it, especially if you're new to fighting games. Every mechanic has to be broken down in a tutorial mode and explain it to you, because maybe you're missing something, right? Like maybe you think you understand the game, even if you're a fighting game veteran, if you want, but you just don't know about some obscure mechanic because nobody told you, how to do it. Like
the DP motion,
down motion, but the what should I call it? Like the low hop, right?
Yeah.
Like if we didn't look for it, we wouldn't have known. Maybe we would have discovered it at some point during our Marvel career. We'd be like, oh, why does this happen? And then all of a sudden it would like just come to us as like, oh, this is a low hop. But if the game doesn't explain to you, like, how are you gonna figure that out?
What about the sense of discovery, guys? The sense of adventure.
Well, you already are not going to have frame data in the game, so there's your discovery.
Like, it's not like the arcade days where you have to kind of figure that out on your own. all these different mechanics and stuff like that. We don't have that anymore, and you're in a generation where there's so much media competing for our attention, and people want instant gratification. So you have to really set yourself apart as a product from the other things vying for our attention. And if you can't do that, then you fail, and they're just gonna go to something else.
Left behind.
You get left behind. Yeah.
You know, another thing too, with if Capcom can delay the game, I think they never really had control over that to begin with. Like, if you look at Street Fighter V, you know, they were partnered with Sony at the starting just to get the game funded and ready to rock and roll. And now they're partnered with Disney, right? So, like, they don't have full control over this thing, both those games.
Maybe that's why they're not delaying it.
Yeah, I think they're stuck, you know, between, you know, a rock and a hard place. So
you can tell that there's a lot of Marvel Disney influence in this game in terms of certain directions they have to go with. So I can see, like, yeah, maybe behind the scenes it's also frustrating for the developers because it's like, well, we want to do this, but we can't because Disney Marvel tells us this, or vice versa, or something.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, though, they also have different financial forecasts as well. So what may work for Capcom might not work for Disney. It's like, well, this is what our budget is for this quarter, and we need it done by this because we're projecting sales of whatever, and we need to see the results at this point. So, I mean, you got two different companies with two different directions they want to go in terms of finances. So, like, you know, obviously, you know, they had to come to some kind of agreement of where it will both align for them in terms of their projections and their profits and stuff like that.
If they delay the game a little bit, they're gonna overlap Super Street Fighter V, if that's true, around December-ish. And if they delay it even further than that, then they're gonna be overlapping the Dragon Ball FighterZ window. So they have to be careful. I think September is a great launch window for this game if it was up to par, you know?
Also depends on what other AAA titles get released around that time, too.
Like Tekken 8 this year.
It's like, we're not even talking about other fighting games, right? We're talking about, like, other AAA titles.
AAA games? I mean,
yeah.
There's something every month, right?
That's the thing, right? Yeah, we just have to be careful of that. Otherwise, you get left behind.
What about Spider-Man? Because
the new Spider-Man game?
Yeah, the Spider-Man game.
Yeah, that game looks sick at E3.
That's not what I asked. I said, when is it coming out?
Oh, I didn't hear that. I don't know.
I'm just thinking of another Marvel game, you know?
Well, Homecoming's coming out, so did they announce any Spider-Man characters for Marvel Infinite? I don't remember that leak.
Well, there's no Spider-Man either in the leak.
No
That's
Spider-Man?
suspicious.
What the deuce?
It probably is there. I don't know. Like, honestly, this leak list shit, I don't know. I'm just gonna wait till the game comes out.
Like, if Spider-Man's not in the game, it's gonna be DLC. Like, you can bet on that for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Jeez.
The word on the street is Venom is the DLC. Venom.
Oh,
so.
Venom.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Venom in a while.
Yeah.
That Jeddah leak better be true.
Oh, I know. I know. Don't tell me you're gonna do something lame killy like Jeddah Morgan. Please don't tell me you're gonna do that shit.
No. It'd be because I need someone to compliment Jeddah.
Okay. Remember, you killed Mortal Kombat X for me when we sat down. And I picked Scorpion, and then you picked Sub-Zero. I said, we can't do this. We are not doing this right now.
What do you have against Sub-Zero, mates?
No, that match is not happening. I don't want our match to be a TV commercial. We had to stop right then and there. That was ridiculous. And yeah, man, if I bust out the Mega Man Sigma, and then Killy picks Jeddah Morgan, I'm gonna roll my eyes so far back. Ridiculous.
To be fair, I picked Sub-Zero because he had Oki. You picked Scorpion because you wanted.
Because he's cool.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Like-
the two different fighting game players.
Because he was cool. That's why I think Scorpion's cool.
Well, you could argue that Sub-Zero is cooler. But for
No,
different
no.
reasons.
Stop.
I'm going
Stop.
into pun territory.
Stop.
That was the only reason we had the TV commercial matchup.
It was.
And I blame this on you because you picked for superficial reasons. Well, I picked for competitive reasons.
Oh man. Yeah.
Well, can't wait to play Monster Hunter.
I keep forgetting that character's in the game. I keep forgetting.
Hopefully, he has a lot of guns.
Ugh. That would be a very popular character. See, that's the thing. Why doesn't Capcom just show like reveal Monster Hunter really early in their trailers? Just get people
I don't
hyped.
know. Maybe he's not
Maybe
ready.
he's not ready yet. That's the whole thing.
Why don't they start working on him first?
Well, they're trying to fix his face.
No, man. Like they should have just. Like the advertising campaign just bugs me so much. They
Actually,
could have
we don't
done
know
it
if it's
so
a-
differently.
We don't know if it's
But-
a male or female hunter.
But
actually.
I mean, look at who they revealed for the
Depends
Capcom
on the costume
side of
color.
things, right?
Yeah.
They got Dante in there, good choice. They got Mega Man in there, good choice. Strider, another good choice, right? So, like the initial, and they obviously have to do Ryu and Chun-Li right away because they're like the poster boy and girl of Capcom. Same with Mega Man. So, when Zero gets revealed, good choice. The only one that you can really question is like Arthur. You're like, really, Arthur? But and Spencer. But other than that, like it was a pretty solid.
Dude,
Capcom
they don't
side.
have X-Men characters. They need to overcompensate somehow, right? And one way is to show some of these new characters.
You have to show, yeah. It's about time, like past E3 now. It's about time they reveal actual new characters to the
Yes.
series, to the Versus series.
Yes.
So we need some Jedi reveal. We need some Monster Hunter reveal.
They had a trailer for every character reveal for Marvel 3, didn't they?
No, I don't think so. They're pretty close, but I'm not entirely
Remember when their
sure.
website leaked and it was like a conspiracy whether Capcom purposely leaked it? All the characters for Ultimate Marvel 3?
People thought Howard the Duck was going to be in the game. And
What?
Dr. Octopus and shit. Yeah, man, the leak was that. Like,
We're talking about Marvel
Howard-
3?
Yeah.
Ugh.
They thought like Howard the Duck was going to be in the game. Maybe it was Ultimate, but all the
The-
leak stuff for Marvel 3 was false.
Weird.
But it's curious that they went for the character trailer approach for 355, and now they're just pushing this like story mode, right? Which we know as like beautiful writing, but it's just
Tearjerker.
like they're just trying to. I think that they really want to push this like cinematic experience, trying to tie this game with the cinematic universe in a sense. Although,
It
like
would've
Kelly
been
said
fine.
before, like
It
you
would've
said before, though, like they look different, so that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't know what they're trying to do.
Like if they were
Maybe-
pushing the cinematic storyline, I would be okay with that. If the writing was good. But it's not. So we have a problem here.
What do you mean?
Oh, man.
Give me something to get hype over. Look at Guilty Gear's story mode. I'm so invested in the characters and story of Guilty Gear that each installment of the story mode, I'm like, yes, this is awesome.
Mhm.
Injustice 2, right? They hired DC writers to write the Injustice storyline. They had a comic spin-off with it, so you had this really good experience with the story mode,
Mhm.
right? You're invested.
Yeah.
And then we get into freaking Marvel Infinite story mode, and it's cringe. It's cringe. It's
Yes,
like for
the-
children,
It's Disney.
and it's like
You can expect like Arthur to break out in a musical or something, like just sing.
it's just you can't get invested into this because the writing is so like it's not good. It's
Mhm.
a problem. It's like I can't get invested in the characters like this. I mean, yeah, it's harder because it's a crossover, and it's like really weird crossovers. Thor, Arthur, of all things, right? But like the dialogue is not written well. It's
Mhm.
like it's too cheesy. right? And the delivery with the voice acting, it's meant to be cheesy, and you're just like, you're like, what is this? Why do I want to care about this story mode?
You really
Right?
shouldn't have played that story mode demo, man.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah,
No,
by the way,
like-
guys, don't play it.
It's so bad. Alright. Let's get ready to close this up, guys. Any parting comments you guys want to say about this game? Or to anyone listening to this?
I think we already reiterated don't play story mode demo.
That's what Mira was going to say anyways.
Yeah.
Stole my line.
Gameplay foundation is good. Gameplay foundation is good. Just need to make sure the netcode is good. Make sure the content is good on launch. And have a dedicated team for support, like an actual decent sized team for support. And then there's like rumors of 1 man working on SF5 right now.
And one guy keeps calling in sick. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think if they can just do that, then there's a future for MVCI.
Jim?
Yeah, I'm still gonna wait and see. Like, as it stands right now, even if it does look better and look good down the road, I really don't have much interest in this game. Like, we'll see where it goes. I'll give it a shot still, regardless when it comes out. But yeah, as it stands right now, this game really doesn't interest me at this point.
Mir?
Well, like, the game is interesting mechanics-wise, and of course, we went over how the presentation is not up to par.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely give the game a try for sure, and I'm pretty sure that I will enjoy it. I can't wait to get rolled back to death online. It's gonna be great.
Oh, that's going to be amazing. It's going to be absolutely amazing, especially with the tag system.
Yeah, make sure to have more than 2 people working on the netcode this time, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great.
Can you do down motion during rollback? Is that possible?
We'll have to get good and just do it.
Yeah. For me, I mostly care about gameplay, so I think I'll enjoy this more than Marvel 3. But yeah, the presentation I think is unfortunate. I think the best thing they should do right now is delay the game and release some better trailers with some of the exclusive characters to hype it up, and then I think the game will be fine from then. Usually Capcom, like, they can get away with stuff like this, so is there a fighting game that can compete with Marvel in terms of tournament wise? I don't really think so. I think Marvel will be up there with Street Fighter V, especially if Capcom throws money at it for tournaments. So I can see the esports scene being pretty high for that game. But the initial sales matter a lot for the longevity, especially for their DLC campaign. You have to see. But yeah,
I just foresee myself and Alvin playing this game. We're gonna play for a night. We're gonna find the stupidest shit for this game, make each other really angry at each other, stay up till 3 a.m., and then say "fuck this game" the next day.
That's if we get this game on launch. Honestly, I might play the wait and see down the road. Like I might wait like a month or 2 to see the development of the meta before I pick up this game. That's how cautious I am regarding Marvel Infinite.
to tread lightly. Yeah.
I think I'll just take it out from the library or something.
Or it could be a when's Dragon Ball moment.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, guys, let's close this up here. Thanks, guys, for joining me for this very long podcast. Get your impressions of this game, and yeah, I'll continue to let you guys know as much as I can about this game, so that you guys, if you're planning on purchasing this game, you'll be as informed as much as you can be. So yeah, don't forget to like the video, guys, and be sure to subscribe to the channel, as we have more podcasts to do in the future. Next thing we'll be talking about is our experience with Dragon Ball Fighters. So yeah, take care, everyone, and see you next time.